You can use special effects in any area at any point in our history when it comes to cinema, and be able to take advantage of that in ways that aren't just for show or for flash. But usually when a new technology comes out, and you really see this in media, people, it's kind of kitsch. Like they explore it to explore it because it's new, you know. So they try to fuck around with it. You saw that like with 3D. It's a perfect example. That's when they started having 3D TVs. It seemed like everything was just to put it in there because it exists.
Are you and Mr. Epic musicians? You guys talk like you got a creative side to you.
Um, I play banjo, harmonica, and guitar.
Growing up, I took several years of piano. I was in the school band from 6th grade on. I went from trumpet to tuba. I have always been musically inclined. I've always studied things. Currently, I'm actually doing some stuff on computers, doing electronic music. I got really big into it when I was in college. So I've been learning all that stuff. There's a lot. I mean, it's overwhelming when you get down to how sound is produced. It's pretty cool, though. It's a lot of fun. But I know a lot about genres. I'm kind of a genre geek, so I'm always studying histories of music, even stuff I'm not into.
I know when I was I'm the same way. When I was into rock music back in high school, I bought this amazing book that opened my eyes to a lot of music history called The DJ Made Me Do It. It was all about how DJs influenced the music industry, from beat mixers all the way to your local radio disc jockey. Pretty amazing.
A really big thing for me is music theory in general. I mean, you understand so much more about how music is constructed by understanding it. The circle of fifths, just on its basic level, is very useful. But there are a circle of fifths out there that don't just have complementary minor keys. They also have diminished keys and all kinds of things. I saw this chart. I have to find it. And it showed every key and everything that is actually in that key technically. Every suspended chord, every mode, and it's just amazing the sort of organization that music theory actually has when you take all the 12 tones into account. The ancient Greeks were very big about how each mode was a sort of mood, and certain modes, certain scales were indicative of certain music, and you see that in classical and jazz music and the way that they explored that and all the music that came after that. Fascinating stuff.
So, I mean, we've been talking about movies, music, and all that. Can anyone tell me if they've heard a finalized release date for the game Elder Scrolls Online yet? I'm starting to get pissed.
No, they've been really hush-hush, and all my friends that are big into that universe have been frustrated. So, I don't know.
It looks like they're telling you if you want to get this, it's over on Amazon, all these different places, and it claims to be the 31st. But everybody's still wondering, are they sure they're going to do it? Because they delayed for 6 months last time. They said no. Yeah.
Okay. Sharpie?
Oh, hey, Sharpie, what's up, man? Long time no see.
Ow, fuck.
Oh, geez, are you all right over there, Epic? Am I going to have to call an ambulance?
I'm pretty fine.
Oof, that sounded rough.
Oh, shit.
I might have to just restart my computer.
Can anyone hear me?
Yeah, I can now.
Oh, can't now. Oof. Are you looking forward to Elder Scrolls Online, or do you think it's going to be a bombshell?
Me personally?
Mm-hmm.
I very casually game. I'm very, very selective. I don't do a lot of MMO stuff, but if it suits me, I might actually get it. It looks really good. Skyrim was pretty good, and the earlier Elder Scrolls series was excellent. So.
Yeah, that's one of the main reasons. I did my little MMO time for a moment there on World of Warcraft, but I'm all wore out on Warcraft. I need something sexy. I need some Elder Scrolls Online. Ooh,
I've
somebody's
actually,
blowing on the mic.
yeah.
Testing my microphone. I think I got it working.
Yeah.
All right. That was weird.
Kevin, when I first came in here, you guys were talking about how you kind of getting tired of some of these different discussions. Me too. I keep getting links where I'm taken into rooms like that, and I prefer to be in some stuff where we can just hang out, chill out sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, there's a sort of saying, that everything has its season. Everything has a time and place. I mean, if you go into a room and you know what you're getting into, that's one thing. But I mean, if it's the same kind of thing all the time, anybody's gonna go crazy with the same kind of conversations going on.
Yeah, I usually have no clue what I'm getting myself into. I click on the link that a buddy gives me, and then boom, I show up, and I sit there for about 5 minutes. Usually hear people arguing, so I figure what the hell, I'm bored, so I'll get into it.
Yeah. I mean, boredom is itself a frustration, right? So it tends to be the case that when people are bored, that frustration comes out and they bring out all their sort of hang-ups, the kinds of things that they are pissed off about in their life, or ideologically, politically, socially, whatever the case may be. And it's more so when you have people who are more frustrated as a default. That's my experience and what I've observed.
I'm not bored in such a way where I feel like I need to yell at somebody or slap somebody in the mouth because I'm bored. I just need I really, really need mental stimulation. So that's where I'm at.
Well, as my mother always said, a book is never a wasted investment as long as you read it. Books are good for mental stimulation.
I hear you. I do like some books for sure, and I watch movies, I play games, I do all that kind of stuff. But sometimes you need some good social interaction that's mentally stimulating. Hey, Nadia, what's up?
Absolutely.
Hi there. Good seeing you on again.
So what you been up to today, Nadia? You been keeping people in check?
I don't know that I do that in general. If I'm gonna put anyone in check, I'm gonna make sure it's checkmate. Sorry. Somehow my chess geek nature came out.
Oh, it was not bad. I was just muted. I giggled a little bit.
Okay.
Enjoy me some chess, Nadia. I got you.
Hi guys.
Hey.
Hey there.
Wayne's World. What's up?
I was trying to see if I could go 3 weeks without hearing that song. I gotta start the count again. I'm kidding, but
Well, you know how I defend against City Queen Pawn Open. The Leningrad variation of the Dutch defense. Communist that I am. Okay, sorry. Wow, I just killed the conversation. Sorry.
No, we were pretty much just talking about like music, movies, and I ended it with kind of interested in mental stimulation from conversations, and then everybody just went, ugh. It's all good.
Well, I just kind of got sidetracked. New people coming in all at once. I was going to say it's best to diversify. You have a whole host of different things to stimulate yourself mentally. Never get too caught up in one thing, but it is good to invest yourself at least somewhat in things, develop skills, palettes, kind of entrench yourself to a certain extent in the things you enjoy. We do that naturally already, but a little good mix is important.
Absolutely. Cheers. I'll drink to that.
So you guys gonna be doing the whole Christmas thing, or it isn't against your religion, is it?
No, doesn't bother me. Hey, you think they're Christian in Japan? They make a
Yes, there is.
No. In general, I know that some exist, but
I've given up on all public holidays. I only celebrate birthdays.
mm, mm. The Christmas in Japan thing, I don't think comes from Christianity per se. I think it comes from a Kentucky Fried Chicken ad campaign in the 70s. Somebody's traced it, and they figured
Making
out
me
what the hell it
hungry.
was.
Making me
Yeah.
hungry.
You like Kentucky Fried Chicken?
Well, I did. I really used to enjoy it until I unfortunately took on some kind of allergy. Can't eat it no more, but boy, I used to love it.
Mm.
Popeyes is better though.
Uh,
You seen
I'm
Evil
in theory,
Nicky? Evil Nicky Popeyes rules.
I'm in theory a vegan now, but like I just got out of the hospital, so I'm like, ignoring all the labels.
I could not do the vegan thing.
I thought I couldn't either. I was like the biggest carnivore, like I don't know, Draculetta or something, and friggin' A. And it turns out like, go ahead.
I actually don't eat a ton of meat, and I mostly eat chicken. I'll have a steak like maybe once a month, but I hunt and I kind of own a farm, so it's part of it.
Well, folks, I think I'm going to go watch me some Criminal Minds.
Oh, by the way, Brett, thank you for introducing me to that. Even though you didn't say that I should go watch it, but I just checked it out and it's really cool.
Oh, you've been watching it?
Yeah, I'm just starting from the first season.
Oh, yeah. It is awesome. Another show that you might want to watch that's a bit older, since you're into the whole sciencey thing, is definitely Numbers. At a sec.
Oh, okay.
Have you ever heard of it?
No, I don't think so. No.
I started watching Numbers, the first season or so. And I liked the show and want to go back and watch them all, but I lost track of it and stopped watching it just by kind of an accident.
It's all up on Netflix.
Yeah.
Just think of a show, Art, where they use numbers in order to solve crimes and just really intricate stuff. It's sick. It's beautiful.
You talking about?
I'm out of here, folks.
Okay,
All right.
take care.
All right.
See ya.
Cheers.
Bye, Brett. Good meeting you.
Yeah, I think he was telling me about Criminal Minds earlier today.
Yeah, I've been binging on it for quite some time. I think I'm on season 8, something like that, on Netflix.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good. It's a good show. Very interesting.
Yeah, I think it was giving me kind of an example of like I don't know, some kind of like twisted urges or whatever from examples of criminals on Criminal Minds or something like that.
Yeah, and they do a good job of making a good separation between just inborn kind of impulses and actual criminality. People who have that level of disruption. So yeah, without being too heavy-handed with the sort of egalitarian aspect of it, like they're very clear about what it is and why it is, and they go into it. And the storylines of the characters is actually pretty good. I mean, they show how these cases do affect the FBI agents working for their group without it seeming unnatural. It blends in, and they tie in their group story without it getting too melodramatic.
Oh yeah, it people that are around death like that, you just get torn up by it.
Yeah. I mean, obviously it's dramatized. I mean, it's not necessarily analogous to actual FBI work, but there are some commonalities, and it is good to see people trying to address that aspect. There are people working for the bureau who are dealing with death, pain, and suffering on a regular basis, and how hard it is to actually be an FBI agent.
Well, the case I have, I guess, direct contact with, at least someone who went through it, someone in contact with like death and suffering like that, is well, someone who was a neurosurgeon, or rather in residency for neurosurgery,
Uh-huh.
and I mean they had basically two major sources of patients, basically cancer, mostly untreatable, and car crashes, where they were just basically destroyed and kind of acting as a coroner.
Yeah.
And they couldn't handle it. They actually washed out. They quit the thing and went into anesthesiology.
Understood. Well, they're always needing anesthesiologists and phlebotomists as well. I mean, that's a big one. People who draw blood. Obviously, nurses too. I mean, it depends on your level. It takes a certain caliber of person to work in that field. But just especially surgery in general, and of the surgeries, neurosurgery is the most complicated. You have to be incredibly, incredibly delicate.
Yeah, I haven't looked at too many details of neurosurgery per se, but like I heard a lot about the fatalities, like screaming about the latest person basically coming in with that almost without a head, and the girl whose head he had to shave to because she was gonna die or whatever, and needed to save something to put on her funeral display before
Sure.
the hair fell out by itself and so on. Mm. Mm. There's a Native American guy, a lot older than he looked, but he'd been in Vietnam, and he got put on some kind of detail, like loading the dead bodies into helicopters. And you got me thinking, there weren't that many casualties taken overall. Still a fair number, 58,000 or something, but or sorry, deaths or whatever. But with that kind of load over that many years, you could have like rotated a bit to not have like the same people picking up thousands and thousands of bodies.
Yeah.
He was a conscientious objector. That means that was the only job he could do. Heard that story before.
Yeah. He said it was pretty hard on him when he was doing that. I knew one girl, I think it was dad's second ex-wife's half-sister, something ridiculous chain of like relation removals away. It was a mortician. And kind of, I don't know, her way of, I don't think it was consciously done to cope with it. And I don't think you can consciously do it, but she was like super religious. And, she was, of course, dealing with dead bodies like day in, day out as a profession. So.
Yeah.
So Nadia, are you gonna clean up your bed?
Yeah, I probably actually will, especially before they prep for the next spraying. Whenever they do pesticide spray, I'm gonna make sure I get it clear enough that I can get an open shot at all the different areas of it to get the bed bugs.
Okie doke.
They're only once a month though, so I don't have to do it right away. think Amaria is in the EU somewhere. Netherlands, isn't it?
Yep.
Don't remember seeing Sharpie.
I used to come into these chats a long time ago, but I got real busy and just haven't showed up in a long time.
You a believer?
That's complicated. For all intensive purposes, no. I'm technically a deist, but I don't believe in supernatural.
Oh, okay. Well, it's all
A
good.
Shanaraki disciple, perhaps.
Nah, they don't.
I'm kidding.
Yeah. Well, it's
More along the lines of Thomas Jefferson, but yeah.
I got you.
well, it's not like there's something to get offended about, but like, it may not be apparent, but like, there's very little organization or kind of like deists getting together and really trading off ideas. They kind of.
I think getting
Very
deists
individualist about it. Go ahead.
getting deists together to agree on anything would probably be like trying to herd cats. So I don't think that would be really productive.
Well, if Amaria's doc tells me anything, we can at least make them levitate.
This is Gravity Cat.
The real one.
Yes.
Poor thing.
It's horrifying.
Like Ghostbusters.
Gravity
Yeah.
Cat is not amused.
She sleeps 4 feet above the covers.
How did he? That cannot be real. I mean, that's some kind of staging.
No, that's real, actually.
So come on.
No, seriously. Look at it.
Yeah, I know
You
there's
will
some.
see- No, you will see the hair floating, even the air rippling.
I mean, I know there's a way to do it, right? There's a human kind of. There's this, what is it called, attraction? Not attraction. What the fuck? Basically, they put a huge fan underneath you, right? To give you this suit, and it simulates falling from a plane, jumping from a plane with a parachute.
Yeah, but
But
this
it's really
is-
hard to control, right? I've seen people do it, and it's really hard to control. And the cat is just like doing nothing, and still it is stable. So that's suspicious.
But that's because the cat is giving off the pressure to float.
What? Oh, okay, you're being silly. Okay. Trollolo.
Trollolololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololol
War or something. Yeah.
There's a game that I found. Well, it's more of a posting game through Facebook, and I linked it to my wall with a few friends. And what you do is you type in your first name and the word meme, and you post the first picture that comes up in a Google Images search. And yeah, there's some really funny, weird stuff that comes up. Mine was actually the Trollolol guy, like his face, and it says "Fuck you, Kevin." I thought that was pretty good.
That's
Oh,
mysterious.
Mario, that's an awesome lightsaber.
Yep.
That's J.J. Abrams' creation for sure.
That is ridiculous.
Yeah. Oh, he's gonna get so much flack for the fucking stupid lightsaber that he made up. Did you guys see it, right?
Yeah, the
Yeah,
weird
I've seen
like,
it.
cross type shit.
Yeah. I like, what the fuck were you thinking, JJ?
I actually
Really?
like it.
Well, it's useless. It's completely useless. I mean, you have to think about this. It isn't okay. This is hard to explain, but basically, no matter what happens, the blade that you will catch using that thing, right, that cross thing, is gonna slide, and it's gonna slide to the hilt itself.
Yeah.
But the thing is, the hilt is made out of steel, right? A lightsaber can cut through it, and that thing, that cross thing, is offset by metal. Is offset by another hilt, so to speak. So it is gonna cut right through it. So it's completely fucking useless.
But the beam goes all the way through the hilt. You know, there's not 3 beams on it. There's one beam with 3 legs to it, basically.
No, it's not. It's actually a 3B.
Actually,
No, it goes inside of it all the way from side to side. It's one continuous beam on the cross.
Oh, well, okay, that might be the case, but it's still gonna cut through it.
Reuven, very good. I love it.
Awesome.
Wait. Oh wait, if it's actually.
I'm Israel High. I'm Israel High.
That's awesome.
Actually, Art.
Yeah.
There are metals in the Star Wars universe where a lightsaber cannot cut through.
Fair enough, but you should. Okay, if that's the case, then just make it out of that thing, not a lightsaber, not a light beam saber or whatever, because you can hurt yourself with that.
Yeah, but hey, a lightsaber overall would be impractical to begin with.
I don't know.
I would laugh if there was a Jedi that just used that metal, just had a steel rod, no saber, just that made out of that metal.
That'd have to be a pretty evil Jedi. I mean, consider that a normal lightsaber will just cut you, right? It will cauterize the wound, and you're just dead. This Jedi is gonna fucking blunt you to death, like for 2 hours.
Can we all agree that Darth Maul was awesome?
Oh yeah, I actually played as Darth Maul all the time in Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy,
Oh yeah, nice.
and Jedi Knight 2. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. Whatever it is, hand me that lightsaber now. After this meme, it's time check out.
No, Nadia, come on.
If you haven't seen Stephen Colbert's talk about the new lightsaber, check the link I just gave.
I agree with him. Darth Maul should have survived.
There,
Go ahead.
there was a video that was released a while ago. I think he was trying to do a little bit more comprehensive kind of reviewing, but this guy, I don't remember the video, but he was making just that point, and his video was kind of like how the prequels should have been, and he went through the storyline and how the prequels could have been a lot better. You know the video, Reuven? Could you link it to everybody? That would help.
Hey, don't question the prequels. I like the prequels. I think the prequels are better.
No, I don't think that the prequels were bad. I mean, I don't consider myself a huge Star Wars fan or sci-fi in general, but he makes some interesting points on how the prequels could have been a little better. He actually takes a bit
Minus Jar Jar, no Jar Jar.
Yeah, Jar Jar was fucking useless.
It would have been a 6-star movie. What are you talking about? Instead of 5 stars. No. Without Jar Jar, it would have been phenomenal.
Yeah,
Actually, you could have just made that thing a not annoying, amphibian type creature, and.
But then it'd just be a regular creature from Star Wars.
Just not make him Jamaican. Is that what you're saying?
Mm.
He was a space Jamaican. I always thought that's the funniest shit in any kind of sci-fi when somebody's like, yeah, it's totally like this or whatever. And you're like, yeah, a space frog, space this. The best way of describing things.
The whole accent thing was a terrible idea.
A little, yeah.
I should have just go ahead.
What did you guys think of the pod racing thing?
I thought that was cool, but
It was a great N64 game.
Jar Jar is ever so slightly racist. Let's just admit it.
I gotta give the whole pod racing thing some credit though, because it got a lot of it got a lot of kids into Star Wars, a new generation.
Man.
That's an awesome picture. That's almost a picture I have, but then with multiple colors.
It's a Christmas tree lightsaber.
So Noah, you thought that the first movie was racist? Why? Because the flying bug thing with the weird nose was kind of vaguely Jewish.
Yeah, and Jar Jar vaguely Jamaican. I mean, people. I'm not saying it's bad. You can joke about anything. I'm not against it. I'm just saying it's a little racy at most.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I didn't think it was a little. I thought it was so bad. I'm like boycotting the entire franchise.
So, if somehow Star Wars was entirely from the beginning on the backs of Steven Spielberg, and that character, the vaguely Jewish trader guy that's immune to the Force, if he was in that movie somehow, would it somehow be justifiable if it was Spielberg at the helm? Or would it still be racist?
It'd still be racist. I mean, you can make fun of your own race if you want. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying that's the first thing everyone thought when they saw that character.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of things that kind of come up in comedy about that. Like, if you're a black comic and you're making pretty racy, humor about your own culture, your own ethnicity, then it's more permissible, I suppose, or even completely a pass, depending on who you ask. So it's an interesting concept. Yes, I've loved that picture for quite some time. Did you show me that, Reuven, or did I show you that? I don't. It's chicken and egg kind of thing. Yeah, it was you. And I shared it with my buddy Tim, who's huge into the whole miniatrix thing. So, yeah, you thought that was funny.
I wonder how I saw the Phantom Menace. What year was it anyway?
Early 2000s, wasn't it?
1999, I think.
99, yeah. That's the first one.
Okay. So I probably downloaded it online back when I still had a home and a job and everything else.
So is the plot line for the new Star Wars movie out or no?
Not from what I've seen, just a very confusing trailer.
Gotcha. I was just wondering, was the plot line leaked or whatever? Harrison Ford's in it, right? That's what I heard. He sprained his ankle or something, and they had to stop some filming. So, I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's correct. I heard the same.
I don't get when it's supposed to take place. Is this after the prequels but before the older movies, or after the older movies? I don't get it.
I thought it was supposed to be after the older movies, but maybe I'm wrong.
Yep.
With Harrison Ford, it pretty much has to be.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
But does it follow the storyline of the X-Wing series, or is it closer to Thrawn? When would it be?
But isn't the entire Dark Side dead? I never followed the anything outside the main movies, so I don't understand how they could continue it.
Oh yeah, I forgot. George Lucas is fuck your expanded universe. Yeah, so it's probably going to be his new after universe.
But I know under Lucas's original plan, there was already planned for 9 movies, but he ended up not making 9. But he had ideas way back in the day when the first, when Return of the Jedi was being filmed, to have 3 movies before and 3 movies after the trilogy.
Yeah. Well, if you take all the stuff in the expanded universe out, that means that Sidious is not a clone. So Sidious would have to be dead, unless he cherry-picked and decided to keep that part.
So we know for a fact that Lucas did write the new movie?
No, we do not. We know that he did not write it.
Well,
Yeah.
there you go.
He
So
never
it's
wrote.
like-
He never wrote scripts for the prequels or the we would call the afterquels or whatever. But he wrote down a basic outline of kind of just a general flow of the story that he wanted.
Yeah, but there was a lot of things that were changed in the original trilogy midway and slightly after the fact that kind of changed the core concept, like the relationship between Luke and Leia, for instance, is different. That was changed. That wasn't originally intended. So who knows? Who knows where it's going to go? Yeah. Midi-chlorians is going to be absent. That was retconned.
I don't remember what the hell that stuff was.
It was supposed to be some kind of biological factor that equated the Force with a scientific process.
Mitochondrial DNA.
Well, not mitochondria,
is-
midi-chlorian, but
No, I was going to say mitochondrial DNA is extremely interesting, but does not give you powers.
no. It does sort of sound like mitochondria, though. Midi-chlorian, mitochondria.
Yeah, when I first heard them say that word, I was like, yeah, mitochondrial DNA. I kind of get it. But anyway.
Hey guys, I'm going to link something in the sidebar for you guys to watch later. The only thing I will say is soon.
You have to elaborate on that, bro.
It's a little surprise.
Okie doke.
I say there's nothing more boring on this earth than case law.
So we'll have lightsabers soon. Gotcha.
Who wouldn't want to have a lightsaber kind of thing?
Well,
Well,
I
in
mean,
Ohio, we're not really even allowed to carry knives, so I don't think that's going to fly.
if we were able to create something like a lightsaber, I mean, it could change the way we use cutting tools.
Well, it's pretty much a overgrown plasma cutter, but
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Plasma cutters are pretty cool, but we already got those.
Yeah, but they don't make the noise though. Vroom, vroom.
Well, the idea pretty much of the video is this. Like, you have this 3-foot long ceramic rod which has all small little holes in it, and like plasma comes out of it, which is like what can cut steel and shit. Which is pretty much the same idea of a lightsaber, if you ask me.
My question to Art is, when are they going to make Thor's hammer? If it can be created. It might be eternal.
It probably is, yeah. I don't know. I'm too tired, guys. I'm sorry. I cannot think of anything funny in response.
As far as I know, it's pretty impossible for humanity to make a Thor's hammer ever. Like, didn't it have, like, following the lore of, like, Marvel or something, the mass of, like, Mount Everest or something?
Holy shit.
So basically, it would need to be made out of neutronium, so that's about the only thing that would be heavy enough.
And I don't think I would be happy to be anywhere close to it. Like, it would have, like, pretty high gravitational force and stuff, and
Well, no, not exactly, because
radioactive.
Yeah, it would be mainly radioactive. And neutronium.
But Radioactive would be the least of your problems because a 1 by 1 cube of neutronium weighs more than all of the cars on Earth, and if outside a gravitational field of a neutron star, it would release the energy of, I believe, 5,000 Tsar bombs for 10 minutes. And after that 10 minutes, it would release half that amount for another 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Slowly degrade.
Apart from the.
So you're saying it's not really practical.
No, not practical.
Apart from the nuking stuff of with a extremely small cube, I wouldn't want to be anywhere close to it because of the gravitational pull of it.
I can understand that.
Gravity's a bitch.
Yep. Like I would guess that like something like what is quite small and has the mass of the Mount Everest, that would have a pretty big gravitational pull.
Well, no, if it has the mass of Mount Everest, it has the same gravitational pull as Mount Everest does.
Yeah, but because it's smaller, like a black hole is also smaller than the original star, and because you are quite close to it, it would be a bit stronger.
Well, I don't think so. It's not about the ratio of size. It's about density.
If you were in it's extremely dense, but if you were in the vacuum of space, it would draw you to it pretty quickly. But on Earth, it probably wouldn't. What it would do is bury itself immediately, probably traveling straight to the core if it was that small and weighed that much.
Yeah, the pressure on a square inch would be so fucking huge. It'd go, right through the fucking...
And then there is that.
No. So even at that density, it's too small to have that to be dangerous gravitationally. The mass of Mount Everest is condensed to a point is not enough to hurt anybody.
Right.
I won't try it though.
Yeah, like I said, unless you were in the vacuum of space, it with no gravity, it probably wouldn't affect you gravitationally, but it would. I mean, even buildings try to bury themselves from their own weight, but that way would do it a whole hell of a lot faster.
Yeah. Let's just not make that thing.
We've definitely come to a logical conclusion here that Thor holds a black hole in his hand.
Yep.
I guess.
I'm badass. I'm fucking badass.
Yes, you are, Art. Yes, you are.
Black hole, neutron star. What's the difference?
Pretty big difference, isn't there?
It will crush to subatomic level, so there's no difference.
Well, I don't know.
I don't think it's sub. Well, okay, it is subatomic because you get the neutronium interspersed with super heavy ions and so on. Or not super heavy ions, super heavy isotopes. Sorry.
That's exactly what I was thinking, Nadia. I wasn't. I'm just kidding. I have no fucking idea.
You know, I have faith, Art, that you're building Valhalla for all of us.
It's already built, bitch. Don't doubt my powers.
I don't.
Okay.
Art, there better be internet there.
Wi-Fi, McDonald's.
Cable internet. Wi-Fi is shite.
Well, fuck you then.
Yeah.
You're not getting into my Valhalla.
Yeah, back on the earlier.
Then I will create my own.
Yeah, back on the earlier subject.
But only in Minecraft.
Yeah. Gravity is so much weaker than electromagnetism that the mass of Mount Everest condensed to the size of a refrigerator magnet would have less force than the magnetic force of a refrigerator magnet against a refrigerator.
Okay.
Some
Oh,
will do the math.
I'm not a person who does things with that kind of stuff. Like, I'm just an idiot behind the computer watching television shows.
But also, I guess the way it gains strength is by falling off more slowly. Across the same per square.
And that's not even true. It doesn't actually fall off more slowly because electromagnetic forces also are inverse square laws. But the reason we don't see widespread electromagnetic forces is because electric charges are pretty much balanced on the greater scale. So the force from positive particles and charges is countered by the force from negative charges when you're at that scale.
I do not know much about physics, so I wouldn't know.
I find gravity interesting.
Gravity is very interesting. It does some very strange things.
Well, the only thing I know about it, when you drop a stone on your toe, you will be screaming.
Yeah, well, it depends how big the stone is.
Touche.
That's a deep thought there.
Yeah, right.
How big the stone
If you can
is.
formulate force variationally, you can like get the same kind of Hamilton-Jacobi geodesic equations that they end up using for gravity for other forces. So characterizing a bunch of the other ones like the space curvature and so on.
Oh, hey, also.
Hi, also.
Hey.
Hello, Halsey.
Greetings.
Much love, much love. And some hate.
Duh.
Now I have the sudden urge to go gate camping.
Is it gay camping?
Yes.
Oh. Go to PF Dash. There's always people to kill.
Touche. But my subscriptions are off. And I haven't been playing E for a long time, so I don't think I will be playing it anytime soon.
Yeah, I really don't like the battle mechanics, combat mechanics. Are just.
It's just because
Okay,
you're bad.
now Helster and I are going to jump art and just.
One v one scrub.
Say what?
Any ship. 1v1 scrub. Come on, let's do it. No.
Oh, I will take you up on it. You know it.
Yeah, I'd probably win though.
Oh yes.
Even though I haven't played in years.
I've seen your kill board. You would eat me alive.
Really? Does also have a bounty on him?
Well, I don't know if he has a bounty on him, but he has like this kill board, and it's magnificent.
Like
38 deaths and 1,000+ kills.
Deaths? You mean like destroying? How do they count deaths? Like your ship being destroyed?
Okay.
Ship and or pod. Both count.
Uh-huh.
Like first your ship dies, then you will be in like some kind of small egg, and if they destroy that, you will get the pod express back to your home station.
Hey guys, is it possible to actually earn your subscription in the game, right? So you can, if you
Yes.
mine, and and I'm curious also, since you're a badass, Are you able to do that?
If I want to, sure. Yeah, it doesn't even. I mean, these days, if you do basic exploration, you can earn a month subscription in a day, just like as a complete noob that only played for a couple of days. If you know what to look for.
Yeah.
Well, I was doing it the other way. I made a macro, right? That would mine for me.
Yeah,
Like-
mining is not profitable really, unless
Not
you
anymore.
know exactly what to go for and have high skills in refining and extraction.
Right. Right, but if your macro does it for you while you're not there,
No.
then
No.
you
I
don't
mean,
feel
it's
right.
it's still not very profitable, no matter how many or what macro you're running, because you have a set ceiling you can't get past. But yes,
What
if it's just macro mining while you're not there, you can still make enough to pay for the monthly subscription throughout the month.
Yeah, but need to have like been played already for a while to have the ships to even be able to
Actually-
mine.
No,
enough.
not at all. I was actually doing that with very low level ships. I had a destroyer. And
There's
that's it.
dedicated mining frigates that are extremely proficient at it, but it's still not profitable. We're talking maybe, like, if you're doing it extremely well, somewhere between 10 and 20 million an hour. Like, but then we're talking like complex mining or like wormhole mining.
Okay, what do you mean by profitable mining?
ABC ores, I guess.
Yeah, ABC ores, and sell them at the right markets.
Okay, ABC ores, what's that?
Arcanum, I think. What were the other two?
I honestly don't remember the names. Mining
Okay.
was never my thing, so.
I think it was Arcanum or something like that. Bespoke
Arcanum.
and something else.
Yeah, well, I used to do it like I used to play Eve like on and off for 10 times maybe over a few years, and I just gave up. I'm like, fuck this.
If I go sit for it, I make around 100 million an hour.
Mm.
And that's not doing anything special. That's just blitzing missions.
Yeah, but it's not bad. But still, the reason that why I left was the just clicky combat system like in World of Warcraft, when you just click and you just
No.
select a weapon.
No.
You haven't done any real PvP if you've just been sitting there clicking buttons.
Well, no, I know. Like, yeah, I know it's not just like clicking buttons. You have to strategize, tacticize, equip your ship, choose your weapons. I know there is some complexity to this, but ultimately, it's just a kind of I know ultimately all computer games are math, right? But for example, I mean, take Star Trek Bridge Commander, right? You have there a complex system that makes it look like it's an actual battle. You have projectiles flying, you can evade them. You have shields, you have starboard shields, shields at every side. You can damage every part of your ship separately, and it depending on which part you damage specific component. You have shield generators that you can just take off. I mean, it's just more. I like that kind of space combat, right, where it's actually more realistic, basically.
Well, Eve is a little bit more advanced, actually, if you are going deeper into it.
Okay, how is it? Okay, it doesn't even have like. It doesn't even have damage models on the ships, does it? It doesn't have.
Oh yes, it does. You can damage your.
It has damage models, but it's.
Oh no, wait.
very
I mean,
simple.
like, yeah. Okay, you cannot select this. You cannot. Okay.
You can't target subsystems, no.
No.
Yeah.
You can do electronic warfare though, which is
I know.
effectively targeting subsystems.
Yeah, but that's just clicking. That's just clicking a few buttons and just hey, select this and
Depends. I mean, as far as something like tracking, you also have to maneuver correctly to make use of the tracking.
Yeah.
But it's
Like
still,
proper distance from your target, etc., etc.
All right. Well, have you played Bridge Commander, guys?
Nope.
Never heard of it.
You never played Bridge Commander?
No.
Nope.
Really? Jesus fuck. Okay, it's hard to compare. I'm gonna try and screen share. I think I have it still installed. Well, basically, it's the most detailed damage model on any game that I've seen so far. You can literally cut off pieces of the ships, right? Like you can cut off the nacelle of the Galaxy class ship, right? You can literally cut it off by shooting, by targeting the pylons, right? The thing that holds the cell itself, right?
Mhm.
You're gonna cut it off. You can cut off the saucer section, right? It's just so incredibly detailed. Wow, I could talk hours about it. The problem is that it's old. It's like 2002, something. Yeah.
So
Well,
effectively the same age as Eve.
yeah.
Yeah, but Eve wasn't. Well, Bridge Commander wasn't updated at all.
Yeah, but was Bridge Commander online?
Say what?
Was it online?
You had multiplayer there, yeah.
Okay.
And there's a few mods that make it much better game.
Well, that kind of thing comes back into effect with Elite Dangerous, which honestly doesn't look to be what it was said to be. But also whenever whenever Star Citizen gets completed, that also has the same thing.
Yeah, you mean like what I was talking about in Bridge Commander?
Yeah, like in Star Citizen, right? You can, if you fire on your opponent, their ship can lose mass by like shooting off of pieces of it, or let's say you damage a thruster on the ship. So let's say I damage your left rear navigational thruster. Well, now you're shit out of luck. If you try to roll, you'll enter a corkscrew spin instead because you lose a vector of thrust. And your ship can become unbalanced, where you have to permanently correct for the mass difference with thrusters, right? And if you lose thrusters as well, now you're royally fucked.
Right. Okay, that is cool. That is cool. But you know what? I've never been a fan of the space shooters kind of, because it's really kind of I preferred, for example, Il-2 Sturmovik.
So basically, what you're saying is you prefer RNG over actual player skill.
What do you mean? RNG? What's that?
Random number generator.
No, the opposite.
Kill the heretic!
Did I just froze? Oh fuck! I just froze.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's not that. I just like the game to be realistic. I know ultimately it's all numbers, right? There's just like no kind of randomness to it, of course, and I don't like it. I just like for the models to be realistic. Like in Il-2 Sturmovik, right? You can do exactly the same thing that you described, only this game was like 10 years old, 14 years old. You can shoot off bits of wing, and that will affect the flight model. If that's in the Star Citizen as well, that is cool. But I'm afraid that you don't have any ability to actually aim that much. At least not that I have seen.
It's a first-person shooter in a cockpit.
I know, right. I know, right. But the thing is, the games that I've seen like this are you're able to engage from like 2 kilometers, almost, right? 1 kilometer maybe, right? And
it depends on ships.
Right, you're basically done with the target before you have any ability to actually see the model itself and target specific parts of it. Maybe a few times you will get close.
That depends on the ships. Fighters will dogfight. Capital ships won't.
Oh, yeah, right. I get it. Okay, that's...
Alright, let's keep that this. If you are flying around in your little ass frigate on 100 kilometers away from me, you're dead.
Well, yeah, because, sure, if you have long range weapons, sure. I actually like that. I prefer that type of combat, capital ships.
It's the most boring thing to do. That's literally just pressing buttons.
No. Depends on what game you're talking about, actually. Well, normally games have really simplistic models of, capital ship combat, but there's a lot of tactics involved. What example could I bring to you? Fuck, there was this damn it game that had this. Oh yeah, right. Sword of the Stars, which is an RTS, right? But it has really amazing technology tree. You can research some awesome stuff there. You can research different types of missiles, different types of anti-missile defense, and you can, of course, design or not design, research different types of ballistic weapons, energy weapons, and you have to balance this everything up. And it's hard to describe, really.
I liked Eve. I gave it a shot, but I can't see how you guys can invest the time in these games to go anywhere. It was the same with Warcraft for me. I could never invest the time into them to get anywhere, so I'd always hit a wall where me spending half an hour a day on it, maybe just I couldn't play it. You never got anywhere.
Oh, dude, I spent like
can
5
easily
hours.
justify it.
Well, yeah, of course, but I just like to say I spent hours and hours on it every fucking day. I had a lot of free time, and I barely got a fucking destroyer. But then, luckily, they released the option of buying the money in game. Right? You can use your real life money and buy the money in game, the in game money, the ESK, and that helped a lot.
Or you can earn money in game and sell it for real money.
Well, yeah, but that takes just holy shit a lot of time, right?
The way I justified it, I don't play it anymore, but the way I justified it was because I was important in there. I was more important in that universe than I was in this one.
Right, yeah.
Like,
and I did feel like that as well, yeah.
Or being a leader of hundreds, if not thousands of people, leading big operations, overseeing huge transactions, and those kind of things. Well, like,
Right.
So, which is also why I had to quit it, because it took over completely.
Yeah, people do take this game seriously. Sometimes.
Well, they can take all games seriously. It's all about your importance in it.
Right, yeah. Well, ultimately, that's why most people play games. So it's at least it's for me. I like to imagine that I am, the hero, right, in Skyrim. That's me.
I like Skyrim. Skyrim was fun.
Oh yeah, I wish they would made another Skyrim or something like that instead of the online.
Oh, actually, I've actually heard already things about it. The next one is supposedly to be in the lizard people
Black Marsh.
country.
That's Black Marsh.
Black Marsh, Argonia, whatever.
Well, I hope it's going to be, well, I don't know. I hope they will make good scenery because desert doesn't really sound very...
Argonia is mostly actually swamp.
Okay. Well, swamps. Well, okay. But yeah, I actually heard after they released Skyrim that there's not going to be any sequels. Are you sure about the...
I heard it somewhere.
They would have to be absolute fools not to release another Elder Scrolls. I bought every single Elder Scroll there ever has been.
There will be more Elder Scrolls guaranteed, but they might not take place in Skyrim.
Oh, okay.
Well,
Skyrim is just one part of the world.
Of course, like Morrowind was like in the Dark Elves volcano place.
And Oblivion was in the Imperial Empire.
Yeah, and Skyrim is in Skyrim. So there are some countries still to run around in.
Yeah, there's Black Marsh. There's the
Elsewhere.
There's quite a lot actually. They barely scratched
Elsewhere,
the surface.
Sunset Isles, Hammerfall. What more?
Oh, Khajiit. Oh no, that was actually an expansion.
That's Elsewhere.
Elsewhere, yeah.
It's actually it's quite funny the sort of the phenomena around when such titles become really mainstream, like Skyrim, and people go, so when Skyrim 2, not realizing that it's technically like the fifth in the series.
Yeah.
Yeah, like seriously, like I played all the games, yeah? And I hear people, yeah, I played Morrowind, yeah, and I played the first two too, so what?
Actually, the one I started on was Morrowind, and I still really like Morrowind, but I went back and
Morrowind is my
played the others.
favorite. Morrowind is my favorite.
Yeah, Morrowind was excellent.
They are actually remaking that one, a group of modders in the Skyrim engine.
That'd be interesting.
Oh, I'm stoked. Here, let me find it for you.
Goodbye, everyone. I'm gonna duck out.
All right, take care.
Unfortunately, I work
Good night.
Bye, Wayne.
I work 72 hours a week every once in a while, and usually I'm between 60 and 70, so I really don't have a lot of time to play games, but I definitely look into that.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, it will be a couple of years before they will releasing Skywind, how they call it. But I've seen a couple of things, and I'm like very stoked for it.
Yeah, it definitely looks interesting.
Yep. When they release it, my social life is over. Like
my
I will.
my social life consists of going to the sushi bar once a week, so it's really not a big hit.
I will quit my jobs. Hangouts will not be happening for me. My friends and family can go somewhere else. I will be there.
My social life ended in 2008.
Well, you are talking to people, right? At the moment. That's a social life for you.
Yeah, I live at my job.
I don't get to hug and kiss people hello anymore.
But oh, I cannot wait. Because who wouldn't want to run around with a giant ass katana?
I was muted all the time. Fuck, I didn't realize. Wait, you mentioned something about a katana? That sounds cool. Continue.
In Morrowind, there was this weapon called like a Daedric Daikatana, which is pretty much a two-hander formed like a katana. Running around with a huge ass black with red katana is just awesome. Even though I freaking hate those things myself. In video games, it's awesome.
I usually go with an archer in those games. I just find it more fun for some reason.
Oh yeah, me too. I train my archer skills in Skyrim. I just love to do sneak attacks with a bow from behind.
Yeah, the combination of archer with like a dagger assassin is amazingly fun.
Yeah, that's fun, and going apothecary or whatever they call it in there, where you're making poisons.
Alchemist.
Alchemist, thank you. Alchemist is one of my favorites.
One of my favorite classes is a combination of sorts. Like my character was not most of times, but always in light armor, and has a two-handed sword, and was based on speed.
The last one I did was light armor, bows, and double axes. That was actually fun.
I mostly go light armor and a two-handed sword. You can do some serious damage like that.
Guys, can you guess what type of weapon did I use in Skyrim?
A hammer?
Yes. a fucking gigantic, what is it called? Dwarf hammer.
Oh, by the way, I'm actually sharing a screenshot of Morrowind in the Skyrim engine.
Oh wow. Okay.
Nice.
So when is it going to be released?
Someday in the future.
Oh. Okay. Well, so you're a prophet basically.
The only
That's-
game I'm playing right now is a game called FTL that's pretty fun. It's one
Oh.
of those games where you get obsessed with it even though you end up screaming at your computer for like 20 minutes because it's that impossibly hard.
Wait, is that the 2D ship management game?
Yeah, it's kind of a real-time strategy combined with turn-based the way it's set up.
Oh, sorry, what game?
FTL.
Oh, FTL. Ah, yeah.
What I really would love to
Tried it actually. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
what I really would love to play is This War of Mine.
Say what? Oh, I heard. Oh, wait. I've seen it. It's a 2D kind of
Yeah, it's side-scrolling.
side scroll. Right, you're right. I don't know. I've never seen any kind of good side scrollers lately. Is there? What is special about that game, or what is good?
Mm,
Is it
It's
like
the
a
whole-
Minecraft kind of thing?
no. It's the whole
There's some-
atmosphere of the game.
But actually, yeah. Speaking of, oh, sorry, go ahead. I'm alright. Sorry.
If you want a good side scroller, you can look up Shovel Knight. That's fun.
Shovel Knight.
Shovel Knight is fun.
I
That
love the games where I have to manage my survivors of some sort of something, like if it's zombies, war, Armageddon, whatever.
There is another game I'm playing. I just forgot. It's called RimWorld. It's in beta right now, but it's absolutely amazing. I've been every time they update, I'll play it for like 3 days and then wait for the next
Same.
update. But it's been getting progressively just more amazing.
The
I
modding
would love
community
to
is
have
also
that game.
already huge on it. It's amazing some of the mods they have for it.
I haven't done any of the mods. I'm just waiting for him to update all his stuff. But the next one's supposed to put in weather conditions that actually affect you, which will be excellent, and it'll also take care of the problem with the last update that when you get sieged, it's pretty much just freaking impossible to get rid of the siege. Now at least there'll be like weather conditions that'll kill them off.
When they start bringing mortars, it's almost fucking impossible to keep them at bay.
Yeah, I really don't like that. That made the game kind of annoying for me. 'Cause I really hate when I lose somebody, and usually happens. But yeah, the only way I found to counter that is to produce like 6 mortars of your own and just spam them till they're gone.
Yeah,
I would love to have that game.
I find there doesn't seem to be any consistency, at least on my end, when it comes to the psychological profiles matching. So I end up having a lot of psychological issues and diseases.
Yeah, I
You know,
actually
this
I
could be
really
really-
like the medical aspect adds a lot to the game. It makes it a lot harder, and it makes you have to watch your people a little bit. If someone gets hurt, they're actually hurt in the game. They get a hand blown off. You have to put on a prosthetic or something like that.
Could someone
Yeah.
please cut off this video and make a clip of what Halsoy said last time and totally present it out of context as him saying that he's good. Because that
Hey,
was,
any quote miners out there, feel free.
'cause that was
They can mind me all they want.
I always end up having psychological problems
and diseases.
and diseases.
Some of the psychological problems are just strange in that game, but
Yeah,
always seems to work out.
It's quite funny though how some of the combinations go. Like if someone is a psychotic or they completely lack empathy or emotions, they can just walk by like mass graves and go like, whatever.
Yeah.
In video games, most of the times I played for the wholesome slaughter of the human race.
Good job.
Well, congratulations. If you play Wormworld, you will have the bodies stacked to the ceiling.
Ooh, sweet. Can I rent them out?
It's not uncommon once you've played for an extended period of time. It's not uncommon to have anywhere between like 15 and 30 corpses every time a raiding party drops by or an enemy camp decides they want to eradicate you.
Yeah,
Okay.
once part of your map starts looking like the Arlington Cemetery in Washington, you know you need to take drastic measures.
Yeah.
Can I rent out the corpses?
If you're into that, but
Well, I'm not into that, but I need ways to make money, right?
you can actually harvest organs.
Yeah. You can harvest organs and you can sell slaves.
Well,
Guys,
slavery got. Nah, that's not my thing. My ancestors did that shit enough.
It's one of the things I like about it is that it really, 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 really brings me back to the Dungeon Creeper time.
mm,
Or Dungeon Master, Dungeon Keeper, I mean, those.
hey guys, did you play the new what is it, Far Cry 4?
Not yet.
Not gonna get it.
Oh, why not?
Ubisoft.
Oh, is it Ubisoft?
Yep.
Oh.
Do you have them? What do you call it when you don't buy any of their products?
Boycott?
Yeah, do you have them boycotted for some reason?
Pretty much, yes.
Yeah, Ubisoft sucks.
What's the reason? Just their business
They're
ethics?
sloppy programming for once. They have tons of bugs in their fucking apps, and
they're a publisher first and foremost, but there are letters out there, like actual legitimate letters, where they are forcing developers to release games before they're properly done, just because they want them to be released a certain date, or how they will demand developers to keep content away from the game so they can sell it as DLCs.
Yeah,
Wow.
basically corporate sons of bitches.
And anyone played Dragon Age Inquisition?
A friend of mine had it. He said it was pretty good.
It's awesome.
Shit. Oh, Dark Souls. Dark Souls. What I was just thinking of. I want to play Dark Souls so bad it hurts, but my computer's not up to snuff right now. But that's the only.
You know, guys, I would really like for someone to make a fantasy game, role-playing game, kind of like Dragon Age, Skyrim, but with the combat mechanics of Molten Blade.
Ooh.
That would be epic.
Ooh. Well, that's pretty much Dark Souls, I guess.
Is it?
Yeah.
Wait, Dark Souls? I think I played it.
Dark Souls is pretty awesome.
I thought Dark Souls is a slasher.
No. Dark Souls is pretty brutal with its sword fighting and stuff.
Yeah, Dark Soul actually has weighted combat mechanics.
Okay. Oh, I think I missed. Okay. Buying it as we speak. I didn't know that.
So it's not necessarily the most amazing ever made, but it's pretty damn good.
Okay.
And it's one of those games that are legitimately hard as fuck if you
I like that.
If you put the difficulty high enough.
I love that. I hate the fucking what is it? Assassin's Creed. The first one was hard. That was challenging. The other ones are really kind of just wait for the counterattack and you kill them.
I found these days it's just whenever a new game is launched or whenever you install a new game, just turn the difficulty to the highest because it's not going to be anywhere near hard if you don't.
I always play my games at the highest whenever I started. I finished Jedi Knight 2 and Jedi Knight Academy on the hardest level without using any force powers. Just even the boss, and I just love it. I love it. Yep.
I still want you to do a Let's Play of Stalker Call of Pripyat with a mystery mod on like the hardest difficulty level.
Okay, sure. No problem. What I have to get or find the game. I think I had it.
I can check if you have it. It's quite easy.
It's not on Steam. I never had it on Steam.
It's on Steam though.
Yeah, I know. But I think I bought it as a CD a long time ago. Oh wait, I think I had it. Yeah, I had it along. I had Stalker along with my graphics card My brother graphics card. I have to look through these.
Stalker Call of Pripyat with a mission mod. That's Dark Souls with guns.
Really? So
Yeah,
how
the
does it?
story-
What does it change?
Huh?
What does it like change? Or add?
Everything. Everything. I cannot even begin with what it all changes. But it changes combat mechanics. You have to eat certain foods to stay healthy. You have to drink certain liquids to stay healthy. You have to sleep. You have to watch out for radiation. And pretty much everything what wants to kill you.
Does it change the damage models?
Yeah, partially.
Does it have penetration, for example?
Yeah, it has penetration, but it goes for both ways. Like it's not that like a bandit becomes a bullet sponge. Like if you shoot him in the face, he will die.
Oh,
but if
cool.
you get shot in the face, you will die.
That's fine. That's fine. Yeah.
So it's pretty fair.
That's cool. I like when it's I really wish for game developers to stop making these ridiculous balancing modes like the first kind of shooters. They were basically afraid that a shooter is gonna be too impossible, right? If they don't increase the health level and if they don't reduce the bullet damage. If you take, for example, Counter-Strike, you need to use half a clip if you're shooting straight at the torso to kill someone, right? But I think that's really unnecessary. If you keep it realistic, like one bullet, you're dead, and if you include proper cover mechanics, and allow for different tactics with flashbangs and maybe small mirrors that you can pull out from the corner to see what's behind the corner. If you add all of these things, the game will balance itself out, I would say, and it works, doesn't it? I think already you have what is it called? Insurgency. Did you guys play Insurgency?
No.
I really don't play first-person shooters.
Well, that's basically yeah. Go ahead.
The problem is those games don't get big, so they don't make money.
Yeah, but they don't.
If you want to make money off of your game, you have to apply it to the masses, and the masses basically say, if I can't do whatever I want without getting owned, I will just put my controller down or keyboard and mouse down and stop playing the game because it pissed me off.
I guess you're right. Yeah, I guess you're right. But I don't know. Well, the Insurgency is kind of, well, it's not exactly mainstream, but
Bart, Art.
Yeah. How could you confuse me with Bart?
It's late, okay? It's 5:15 here. Yeah, a.m. Give it some time. Like, they are busy with that Oculus Rift and stuff, and that Omni treadmill thingy and stuff. They will make some interesting toys for people with first-person shooters.
Oh yeah, I really look forward for Oculus Rift and that thing that you mentioned. Yeah, I think I saw it.
Honestly, with that kind of equipment, I would be much more interested in games such like Skyrim.
Oh yes.
I imagine you could have a sword that is completely trackable, right?
If you watch the do you know what the Sony Morpheus is?
Yeah.
Sounds kind of familiar. What does it do?
It is basically the same thing. It's a VR headset, right? It's made for the PlayStation 4. But so it's gonna launch probably like first or second quarter next year.
Oh, cool.
The thing is, their tech demo was actually a medieval fencing game.
No way. Okay.
So they had the VR headset on, and then you use the PlayStation Move, which is basically like the movement controllers, like the Wii Mode and shit, like for PlayStation, where you could physically grab a hold of your opponent's arm, swing your sword, and chop the arm off.
Holy shit!
Right, that's the kind of thing you can do with motion controllers in VR.
Well, when they have like these sensors what you can put on your hand or something like that, you are pretty much have your fingers physically in the game and stuff. I cannot wait for like the wholesome slaughter of hundreds of people in video games.
I don't know. I think there's a point where it gets a little too real that it just. I don't think I'd want to be involved with that.
Well, yeah, of course.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, you don't include the bad things like stress and well, I don't know. Well, oh, fucking shut up, cat. Can you guys hear the cat?
Not really.
Okay.
Sounds like a cat.
Yeah, it's a fucking annoying cat. But yeah, I know that's a good point. I mean, yeah, there's going to become a point in virtual reality technology where it's just where it's going to have possible bad, horrible effects on you, like what is this condition called that soldiers have post
It's
PTSD?
PTSD. Actually,
Yeah.
quite a
Right.
few of the guys I work with and our range instructors. One of our range instructors has PTSD. I work in the armed security industry, and I deal with people with PTSD a lot. And I'm a little worried that if you're giving kids games where they're experiencing things like that in real time and as if you're actually there, you're going to damage some kids, because I've seen some seriously fucked up individuals who have seen the real thing.
Oh,
I
okay.
know, but maybe there's a
if you put it
maybe
on
wait. Just sorry. I'm sorry, Mara. But I think there's a difference still, because on the battlefield you cannot just take off your helmet off and get to your home, right? In a game you can.
It depends on your mental state. If you're capable of separating real from fiction, I don't see how it would cause any problems for you. If you have a trouble separating those two, though, I'm fairly certain it could cause some issues. Yeah.
In my opinion, like as long as the person knows that he is in a video game, I really do not mind. Like you can make it as realistic as you want. Like if you want to rip someone's throat open in a video game, go right ahead. But you have to keep in mind that it's in a video game. It's also a little bit person bound.
Well, the thing is, the point of virtual reality is, to make it look like reality, to make you have all the experience like you have in reality. And the thing is, you might be consciously aware somewhere in the back of your head that this is not real. However, your subconsciousness doesn't filter, your inputs. It just takes them as it is. And if it looks like reality, it's going to be treated like reality, I would say.
I mean, I've watched movies that have affected me.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say badly, but they've had profound effects on me. If you were actually immersed in something, and you could connect, especially, let's say it is a guy with PTSD. Let's say it's my friend Chris, who's got severe PTSD. If you were to put him in one of those, I mean, he's almost killed me in real life because of his PTSD. And if you put him in a situation where you put him in one of those machines and put him in a combat situation, that's going to severely fuck him up for a long time.
Yeah, but then again, we are talking about someone who has like been into a war zone or something like that, and it will get memories back from it. But okay, let's grab a guy like me. Yeah, I'm here in my small little room with 100 of energy drink cans. I'm a hardcore gamer, so I'm here in my small little room, and I put on that headset and go into the gear of the video game and see art and started running around. I
Take care, guys. Take care.
I would not suffer any negative consequence because I still know, even in I just know that I'm in a video game. Like if I watch a movie, how graphic it is, I'm still watching a movie. Like I can watch like a Berserksky film, which is like a very grotesque freaking movie. I can watch it and not even blink. I can read books without even blinking. Because I still know it's fiction. But on the other hand, when I see something what is real, like let's say a war zone on television, that does affect me. Because I still know it's fiction and reality. There are still differences how realistic it may look.
I tend to insert real life experiences into this kind of thing, and I've seen in training where people can get so into what they're doing that real life and training exercises can kind of merge, and they get physically stressed out and emotionally stressed out, even though they know it's just training exercise. So if you put, I'm not saying you would, you personally may be perfectly fine, it may be the best experience of your life doing this, but you put somebody in there and they may go into it going, oh, it's just a game. But as they get emotionally and physically involved in something, especially when it's virtual reality, where it's very difficult to tell what is reality and what isn't, they could get so, like you were saying before with Eve, you get extremely emotionally and physically attached to the game where you're putting your entire life into that game. People would do that with virtual reality in maybe a very short span of time, and it could really screw them up.
Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. Like I'm a very what how do you call it? Very open-minded or laid-back, whatever you want to call it. Like it's hard to shock me. It's very hard to shock me. But like what I want to say, like that's because that's me. Like I personally do not give a rat's ass what happens in a video game. But if I do understand when it becomes personal, then it can become a problem. Even for me, it can become a problem when it becomes personal. Like it could be like in like if you would put like these things on my body when I am playing my video game and I get an electric shock when I'm shot, yeah, of course I will get it too. Like it will have a physical what's it called? What's it called? Effect on me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not against using this technology. I'm not sure for moral and social cohesion reasons that we should be doing certain things in that kind of medium. I think it would be really awesome to like walk around Skyrim or any of those other places and see things and do things. It would be interesting. But when you make it so real that you're having extreme emotional reactions or you're having extreme stress where you're actually, because battle, real combat is, if they made it, I'm trying to work this out, if they made it very cartoony, it wouldn't be that bad. But if it was very real, I think people wouldn't even want to do it. If they actually got to see what stuff like that is really like, I don't think they would even be interested in actually playing those games.
Well, that's the thing. You would be surprised. You would actually be surprised if there would be a game with that, with like it's so realistic, but it doesn't have a physical consequence on me. Oh, I would jump in instantly, for the simple reason it's realistic, plus it gives me the feeling I'm there, even though I'm still safe at my home playing my video game.
I wouldn't. That's not something I would want to.
This. I was talking earlier about this video game called This War of Mine. The thing about that game is it's not from the point of view of the soldier, of the hero, but of the survivors, like the people affected by the war. I like games like that.
I can understand it. I mean, I'd be very tempted to play a game where I'm like crawling around Stalingrad with a Nagant rifle sniping, but I think if I actually got into that, um, I don't think it would be what people would expect it to be. I think it would be very emotionally jarring if people found out what it was like to actually be in Fallujah and actually experience that kind of thing. I think
You
it would
know,
be very damaging to some people.
and on the other hand, actually, I'm actually quite for something like that. For games like that, for one simple reason. Like everybody, and I'm pretty much guilty of that too. Yeah, like everybody is sitting at their homes behind their computer or whatever. Yeah, we watch the news and we see, okay, there's war there, there's war there, there's war there. Oh, there someone blew himself up. But we do not know how it's there actually. At least I don't know how it is there actually. I personally do not know how it is to be in a war zone. And to be honest, physically, I rather not ever want to experience it. But in a video game, it could give me the same experience and to show me how it is to be in such a situation while still being safe. So it gives me a point of view like, okay, so that's how it is. As long as it takes the glory of a video game away, yes, please.
I suppose so. I'm just giving it from my personal view and experience. But on the other hand, if you were to put me on like a spaceship, put me in I don't know, the captain or commander admiral's position, I was directing a fleet, that would be pretty freaking awesome to me. But in terms of being in actual combat, I would never want to experience that.
Well, that's the thing. I would love to see it in a video game for the simple reason because there's no way in hell that I will do that in real life because I'm a little chicken shit. And there is no way that I'm going to like some godforsaken hellhole to experience that. I'd rather experience it in a video game and still know how it is.
What are you talking about?
Virtual reality.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's definitely on the rise right now, which is awesome because I've been waiting for it since I was like, I don't know, 7.
Well,
Yeah.
don't we all?
Mm-hmm.
But what's your name? Let me see. Sharpie. Actually, the makers of EVE Online will be making something like that. Actually, they are making something like that with a virtual reality helmet.
That'd be kind of cool. I'd be interested in that.
It's called EVE Valkyrie. Helso knows what it is.
Yeah, it's gonna be a direct contender to Star Citizen, basically.
Oh,
You know what's scary though is the amount of folks who are literally addicted to video games now. I being one of them, right? What sort of epidemic will be on the mainstream after virtual reality comes out? I wonder. That's going to be very interesting.
It depends on the content, I would assume.
Well, I mean, take World of Warcraft, for instance, right? Like, I was a huge fan of that. I played it a lot. And you had, like, a 12-year-old kid staying up for 72 hours straight. Now you have this technology in which folks can just completely immerse themselves into this world, or this other world or whatever. It's going to be interesting, to say the least, I think.
Yeah, I've actually tried, just as a curiosity, I actually got myself a Google Cardboard. If you haven't seen what that is.
Are you talking about the Google Glasses, or is it something different?
No, it's something different. It's really cool. What it is I mean you can find templates for it and make it yourself out of like a pizza box or something. But what it is it's a virtual reality headset using your phone as the display. And since pretty much every single smartphone ever has gyroscopes and shit in it, you can just rotate your head and look around and zoom in and out and tilt and all that kind of thing just perfectly fine. And there's I mean, there's limited content for it because it's still fairly new, but it's something they've done to more or less showcase what VR is. And one of the things I've done with it is I've taken roller coaster rides with it, and I also have a really good headphones.
So is that you can? I don't understand what exactly are you seeing when you use the virtual reality thing with the phone?
It turns your phone into a VR headset basically. So
You know
what it
I'm
is?
going to download it right away.
What?
I'm going to download it right away.
So
yeah, you can. What it is? It's a box that you fold, and it has cutouts. So you put lenses in them, and then you have your phone in at. You know what? Actually, hang on. Let me just find my thing here. But I mean, it makes it into a VR headset. So, 2 seconds.
Okay.
Okay, I'm downloading it right away. I can hold the sucker to pretty much still try it out. So
Yeah. So what are you seeing through the cardboard?
Here, I'm about to show you. Actually, it's really fun. It's really simplistic as of right now, given its nature, but still. Let's see.
Hi,
this
Nav.
should be interesting.
Now, let's see. This is basically the box.
Okay.
So there's lenses on this end. You put your phone in here. You close it, and that becomes your VR display. So I do like this.
Wow.
And
so are you seeing like the phone screen or?
yeah, it's the phone screen. So I can open the roller coaster app just to give you an idea of what it looks like. It's incredibly entertaining. The point was like you get pretty damn immersed in it just off of this. I took the roller coaster ride standing up, and I started to lose balance because I'm incredibly scared of heights, like vertigo, right? So I look down, and I can feel my feet actually giving in.
That's insane. So ultimately, yeah, that brings up another. It's tricking your mind into thinking ultimately what you're seeing is what you're experiencing. So your body's following from it.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Which was
This
my
is, I mean, you're not going to be able to see it clearly here, but this is basically what it looks like on the phone.
Oh, that's awesome.
That is awesome. So the picture or video or whatever moves when your phone moves?
Yeah, like
that is amazing.
Again, you won't be able to see it clearly because of this is a fairly bad camera, right? But this I look around and you can see how basically the perception changes.
So okay, so you have to order the cardboard box thing online or something, or you make it yourself?
No, you can just download a template and cut it out of a cardboard box if you want, and it's just about having the thing. What you have to buy is these lenses that I have here. They're cheap and they're bad, but it was just to try it, right? I'm not sure if you can see them, and they're not even really big enough, so they kind of blur out the peripheral vision.
Right.
But that's the only thing you technically have to buy.
Does that give you 3D vision too, or no?
Yes, it gives full 3D with depth perception and everything. So
that's pretty trippy.
With the phone in, if I can try and, that's basically what it looks like through, and each image is slightly different, just like in 3D. So if I put it on here now, I have complete depth perception, and
complete head movement. So if I rotate like this, my view rotates, and I can look up and I can look down.
Yeah, that's insane.
And
that is insane.
the it's just something I tried because I don't have an Oculus. I don't have anything like that, and this is just it's just to demo it, right? But it's gotten to the point now where phone displays are good enough that I don't actually see much pixelation. I mean, you can still see the pixels. If you pay attention, you can see the pixels because what it basically halves the resolution, right? So this is a 1080p display. So you get two 720p displays. But it's so close that it actually eats up your entire field of vision. So this is basically the screen I see. So it's like sitting directly in front of a movie theater screen with 3D and gyroscopes to basically mimic your head movement.
Now that would be pretty cool for watching a movie on your phone, like over the internet. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah, I have actually. I've done it just to test. Right, I laid in bed, put this on, headphones on, with hooked up to an amp, like just really, really loud and thumping because I have some really, really good headphones.
Imagine how much business people who travel and stay in hotels a lot could enjoy something like that. You know, pull up a flick on their phone, stick that thing back, lay back on the bed, and it'd be like, you know, watching the TV watching a movie on a 72-inch, you know, LED TV or something.
Yeah, that's basically the screen size you get. And again, this is just a cheap cardboard thing, right?
So this is fucking surreal as fuck. This
so,
yeah.
But you can there's people that's used basically the identical template and 3D printed it, so you get it in high quality plastic. And I believe you can also actually buy plastic versions of it. So if you have a smartphone, you basically have a VR headset.
So how much is the Oculus right now?
The Oculus is a few $100s, I think.
I think $300 plus at the moment.
What's it usable with? Is it just like its own platform, or?
No, it's usable with basically anything that has an HDMI out. It's just that there's no real support for it because there's no standard API, I believe, yet implemented.
Right. So ultimately, if you wanted to, for instance, use that with a PS3 or PS4, all you'd really be doing is playing close to a really, really big TV. That would be what it would be like.
A really, really, really big 3D TV. Yes.
Oh, gotcha. Oh, so it actually has 3D support then.
Yeah, that's the entire point, right? Because you have one screen per eye, so you can actually get depth perception.
Depth perception, right? Yeah, that's awesome.
You would think that they would have an API that would be standardized already for this kind of thing. But I think the reason somewhere. You know why I think that that kind of thing lacks, it's slow in coming, is corporations are always fighting for proprietary control over everything.
Right.
Yeah.
The Oculus Rift at this moment is $350.
Yeah, and that's the SK2. So
yes,
the SK2 is basically equivalent to the screen of this, as far as pixel density and those kind of things go. The next development kit, I think, is to have a 1440p display, and the final thing, I think, they've talked about doing a 4K. And at that point, the pixel density is so high that you won't actually be able to make out the individual pixels, even at that range.
Well, what I was going to say before is that it does seem that, as far as technology being publicized, that a certain degree of technology is withheld from the public years before it ends up being released. And I imagine that in a lot of military training circles, VR's not been a big thing for years. They've probably had that for a long, long, long time. I mean, it's probably hasn't been used like on like the public scale with regard to military training, but I guarantee you, folks like in Spec Ops or some special branch of the government's been using it for years to train their soldiers. I mean, that'd be the best way to do it, right? What better way to get the actual feeling of being able to do a raid on a compound or something like that, rather than
Well,
just
they've done it with like flight sims for decades.
right.
So and same you can do the same with tanks and vehicles. It's just the whole human aspect of it actually moving is what's limiting. But that's where they have. I mean, as far as VR goes for soldier training, what they tend to do is give them real firearms and have with blanks obviously, and then have
Miles
laser
gear.
systems. I've actually used a system like this.
That's Miles gear. It's pretty good. They actually have a new gear out too that's a little more realistic.
Yeah, because I've used one of those systems in the Air Force where you have haptic feedback. So if you get shot, you actually get punched, sort of by.
Oh,
by the
I've
suit.
seen that before. It's like a little box thing you put on your chest, or that may be something different than what you're talking about. The one I saw, you put it on your chest, and when you get shot or hit, it gives like a little thump, so it gives the impression that you're actually being shot.
Yeah, they call it the more advanced thing. Like you have, I believe the American military has the most advanced suits because they're developing them. Where you have like individual body parts can get hit. So if you get hit in the shoulder, you get feedback in the shoulder, which tells you that you're not necessarily dead, but you've lost use.
Your arm, right?
Your arm, right?
Yeah, it'll tell you that you have a disabled arm, or you have whatever is disabled.
Yeah.
It'll give you a readout of everything that happened during the engagement.
Yeah. Now, what would be cool is to combine such a thing with. I'm not sure if you've seen the advanced dolls you use in medic training. They have some incredibly advanced dolls with complete circulatory systems with the full airway all the way from your mouth to your lungs, right? It even has like the brachias and shit, like, and you can do fluid drains from lungs and those kind of things.
That's interesting.
It's basically a human body, but it's made up. But it's to so you can train to anything from setting needles into, like, if it's subcutaneous or if it's intramuscular, or if you need to do something about a pneumothorax or something like that. Combining those or parts of those with a system where, like, if you get shot, you actually get an injury, so that a medic comes and helps you. I think that's the part where you get a complete cycle of soldier training.
There's actually an app I got for my phone that I was extremely excited about, because I used to play way back in the day. I used to play pen and paper games, and one was called Shadowrun, and in that game they had a system. It was called augmented reality, where you would put on glasses or whatever, or hold up your phone, and would give you a readout of the world. And if, say, there was a restaurant, you could look at the restaurant, look at their entire menu just by looking at their sign. It would augment reality so that you could get information from everything you're seeing. And we're actually starting to do that. Like, you'll look at a logo on a restaurant menu or a business, and you can get a full readout of their numbers, their operating time, customer reviews, and just get information of the world as you look at it. And I thought that was absolutely amazing. But that has tons of applications in everything you could do, especially if you link up systems. Like we were talking about soldiers, if you had a system like that, and you had a system where it's looking at their vitals, you can just look at somebody who's on your side, and you can tell if they're having problems, if they've been hit, all kinds of just different information. With anything, you could look at your car, and figure out how much gas you have in it. It just tons of information would be just streaming to you at all times, and I find that extremely interesting.
Yeah, something technically we've started to do that already, but it's more for fun, right? You have apps where you can just look up at the night sky and you get information of what constellations are above you, what stars, or like if you're looking at the moon, or if you're looking at one of Pluto's moons, like. So it's the whole augmented reality or virtual reality aspect is going to be really interesting to see how it develops.
There's one app. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, here's a little trivia for you. This technology has been around a long time. A lot of people don't realize it. I'm not saying you guys don't know it. You probably did, but just for fun fact, a lot of people don't really realize it. They think this stuff is new. But the game Descent, I don't know if you guys are familiar with it. That came out way back. Oh, yeah, huge fan myself. That game that came out way back in '94, and it came out of the box with VR headset support. Out of the box.
Yeah. I remember actually, I never got to play it with VR myself, but I knew people that actually threw up. Like their body just got completely out of sync.
People were doing that without the headsets. It messed with a lot of people's equilibrium. Have you, since you're a fan of the game, have you ever played it with the more recent executable that some people made for it? The updates the 3D engine?
No, I haven't.
Oh man, look! If you're seriously a fan of this game, you've got to get this.
Do you have a link for it or something?
I'll provide it. The game looks like, I can't even tell you how much better. You can download high-resolution textures and models for it. It takes the game Descent and puts it in the early O's as far as 3D quality. The special effects are amazing looking. The smoke that comes off the robots and everything when they blow up, you got to see this, man. Let me see if I can find a link for it. If you were in my Skype, I'd transfer the file for you, but I'll try to find it.
Yeah,
there's an app right now.
Sorry,
I'm talking over somebody.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say there's the app I'm using right now. It's very limited, but one of them is you can hold your phone up and just look around, and any chemical spill or any sort of emergency that's going on, you can actually see what's going on, how far away from you it is, and details about whatever emergency is happening.
Yeah, because I mean, these kind of things, like if you know coding language, it's fairly simple to set up, right? I mean, you have nearly every single tool at your hand already, because Google Maps is open, so you can use Google Maps in your app, and that will find, like, again, if it's a smartphone, that will automatically find your position. So all you need now is getting RSS feeds or whatever from a news site that reports these things, and you just need to plug in the coordinates to Google Maps, and you basically use the Street View function, and there you go. It
seems like this technology has so much applications, and we have the ability to do it. I just don't understand why we haven't started doing this kind of stuff.
Well, I don't know. I mean, being from I grew up in the 80s, so I wasn't necessarily one of the people that actually lived through the 80s. If there's a difference there, but during the 80s and early 90s, the VR thing was really, really big. It's just the technology wasn't mature enough. Right now, it should be. So it's just a matter of time before people really start to make the augmented reality a part of daily life. I mean, like you said, it's easy enough to, if it's a QR code, it can be an NFC tag, or it can just be a simple image. Like you have apps that can recognize images, like logos, as you mentioned, right? So it's already here. It's just about making it big enough.
I gave you a link there in the text here to
Thank you.
a German website where that provides the executables and all the models. And man, I'm telling you, you got to see this. If you like this game, it's going to blow your mind. It does not look like the original Descent anymore. It truly looks like it's got. I don't know how much of a gamer you are, but it's got the early Medal of Honor 3D or better graphics quality, maybe Call of Duty 2003 or 4 quality graphics, and the special effects are virtually current day quality, almost current day, maybe 2006
I remember
quality.
When this game came out, the graphics were mind blowing back then.
Oh, for the time, yeah, the lousy 420 pixels, man. That's the best you get out of that game. And back then, it was like 640 by 480 or something. It was the highest resolution you could get.
Yeah.
You can run this at like 2400 by, and it will utilize your 3D graphics accelerator in your computer. It's truly amazing.
I'll have to give this a go because I love the game, and it was hard as well.
Oh, it was very hard. I play it with this game. You can use mouse look, which is a huge cheat, according to the way the game was originally designed. But I do it anyway because it's so much better. Now, I don't play it multiplayer anymore, so I'm not cheating against anybody. I'm just cheating against the game. But the game is so hard. It is so hard that it almost should have had mouse look in the beginning. Turning that ship with a joystick was unbelievably sluggish, man. That's one of the things that made it so hard. You couldn't hardly turn around. You're getting wasted from every direction because you can't turn your ship around fast enough.
Yeah, narrow corridors, enemies at both ends. It's just... Ugh.
I think there's some screenshots you can download. Yeah, down here at the bottom there. Oh, man. Truly awesome looking nowadays. It's a full 3D app upgrade engine for the game.
Oh yeah, I can tell. It actually looks really... What it actually reminds me of is... did you ever play... or they've remade it. It's called Red Alert Renegade.
I never played Red Alert.
It's because they had a first-person game of it in the series, and they've recently relaunched that or remade it, like a fan-made, so it's free. And it looks very similar. They kept it true to nature with the quote-unquote old graphics, and this looks very similar to it. And I love these kind of graphics just because it brings back the good old days of gaming.
Yeah. This upgrade is so good though. It will at the same time you'll be able to see how some things are old school graphics like metal plates that are actually barriers. They look three-dimensional, but you get right up on them and you can see it's just a plane. It's absolutely flat. It's no 3 dimension to it, no thickness.
Yeah.
So you're still going to see some of the old school in it, but everything else is pretty much so far upgraded from the original. It's not even funny.
Here we go. Download link.
I play it single player all the time. Probably once a week I'll load it up and play for 30 minutes or an hour, and one of the user-made maps are for it, and I've got probably 200 of those.
I have breaking.
I'm definitely gonna give this a go.
I got some breaking news. I was listening to Brother John's Hangout with Lucifer. I taught Lucifer what good music is. Go figure.
Huh. How'd you do that, brother?
I showed him some good metal songs. Go figure.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, it's just a joke. Just a joke. No problem.
Gave my upgrade in taste, huh?
I'm getting
Tell me about those firearms in the background somebody's got. Sharpie. You're a gun
there's
lover,
a H&R Buffalo rifle in 4570, a German Mauser 500.
What's that one at the top? Is that an M1 carbine at the top?
No, that's a
In one
Buffalo
garage?
rifle.
At the top?
Yeah, at the top, that's a 4570.
Oh, okay.
Then Mossberg 500 and my Pennsylvania long rifle.
Which one is the Mossberg? Oh, the shotgun. Okay.
Yeah, those are just the ones that I don't have in the safe at this particular moment because I was either working on them or doing something with them.
You ever heard of a gun brand called Revelation? They were very popular back in the 70s and 80s. Basically, they're a knockoff of Mossberg. What they did was they licensed the design from Mossberg and manufactured it themselves under their name.
Mossberg licensed their gun to anyone and everyone who would produce them back in the day. I have a Mossberg that was made for Sears. Sears was making Mossbergs for a while.
Really? Well, not they weren't making it, but I know what you mean. They were buying it from somebody else who leased them. And
yeah, they were being made by some auto company or whatever.
Yeah. They're good guns, though, Mossberg.
Oh yeah, Mossberg makes quality stuff. Not like some companies right now, but some companies have.
My grandfather had a gun that was it turned up missing in the family. We don't know what happened to it. But my granddad had a rifle, a Mossberg bolt-action hunting rifle that was made about, I think, around 1890-something or 1900. And we have tried to find out what happened to it. We couldn't find it. I wish we could, because if that rifle was in excellent condition today, man, the thing would probably be worth a couple $1,000s.
Some of those old guns are. Some of them aren't worth a lot. It really depends on condition and what it is. I've got a 22 that was made in the 1920s, but it's only worth about $150 because they made like 30,000 of them.
Well, it's good for a 22 though. Still, that much, because I mean, you can go buy a 22 rifle today for about what, $79, $110,
Yeah, Savage or whatever the other one is, Keystone. But yeah. I own too many firearms.
22s are fun. Just shoot, man. Cheap. Get a whole brick of 22s and go out one afternoon and just have a ball.
Yeah, well, right now it's tough to find them, but it's still pretty cheap.
Wait, tough to find 22s?
Oh yeah. Well, the shortage isn't so much as bad as it was, but there's still people trying to scalp bricks of 22 for $60 a pop.
Wow. It's been a long time since I bought a brick of 22s, I guess.
Oh yeah.
They were $60-something a brick now.
There was about 4 months there where you literally could not find 22s. They didn't exist.
Man.
How come?
Well, basically,
like the most common
economics.
Yeah, most common firearm in the world, probably.
Well, it's because the companies who actually make 22s, they're extremely dangerous to make because of just what they are, rimfire. So they'll do one production line of them, and then they'll switch all their tooling back to 9mm and 223. The stuff they make the most money off of is 9mm, 223, 308. So they'll put all their people back on those, and they'll only do a production run of 22s for like a month. They'll wait a couple months, do another production run. And because they're making so much money off of 9mm right now and 223, they want to keep their people working on those calibers instead of 22s because they don't make any money off of 22s. So it's basically just economics.
I think 22 is probably the ultimate survival rifle. You can kill so many creatures with it. You can even kill deer with it if you shoot him in the neck or in the head. You might have to chase the deer down and follow his blood trail, but you'll kill him. You hit him in the head, he's a goner. But I mean, you hit him in the neck, he might bleed to death. Might take you 4 miles of tracking to find him, but he'll die.
Not to mention a suppressed 22 is really suppressed.
Yeah, Sparrow Suppressor. Probably one of the best. I've played around with those.
I've heard some wet suppressed 22s, and I mean it's almost like it's just a like this. There's virtually no sound.
Wow,
I have
is that illegal? I've never heard that
oh
before.
no,
Is it
oh
illegal?
no, wet suppressing isn't illegal. You can own suppressors. And actually, I have a video up completely just on suppressors, their legality, and how to go about getting one. But no, they're not illegal at all.
I guess I don't understand the difference between a suppressor and a silencer.
There's no silencers don't exist. They're all suppressors. Silencer is a Hollywood term.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, really? So a silencer is a suppressor. That's the same thing.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
I thought those things were illegal, man. I swear.
Oh no, you can actually build your own. You can file a Form 1 with the ATF, send in $200 with the form, and they'll send you back, and then you can make your own suppressor, or you can go through a Class 2 or 3 FFL dealer with Class 2 or 3 SOT, and they can file the paperwork for you.
Government's got to know everything you do with a gun nowadays. It just sickens me.
You can also use the oil filter version, which seems to be fairly popular.
Well, actually, that's produced by my friend Tom Cole of Cadets Gunworks. Actually, the popular video that's got over 2 million views, that's actually my video. I shot that video.
Does that thing, is that so big around the barrel that you really can't use the sights to aim?
Yeah, you have to use an elevated sight or just aim
general direction. Yeah.
General direction, basically. But yeah, you can't personally replace the oil filter. You have to send it back to an FFL dealer that's got that SOT in order for them to change out the filter because it has to be renumbered.
Yeah. It's pretty effective, though, as far as suppressing goes.
Yeah, we stuck it on a belt-fed RPD, and actually it did pretty well as well. It destroyed the can after one belt, but...
Yeah. Go figure, huh?
That was fun, though. That was a good machine gun shoot.
The only thing belt-fed I've fired is... we just call it an MG. It's a belt-fed 7.62. In the Air Force.
You know, I was thinking the other day, for some reason, I don't really think about firearms. I don't go around thinking about it, but I was thinking about this the other day. I imagine somebody has made this, but I've never seen one. It would be great for a survivalist guy if there was a kit and you could take a pistol like a, I don't know, a 41 caliber Colt or something, and have this snatch the barrel off of it, put a carbine length rifle barrel would mount on it with a pistol grip on the front of the barrel, and a stock that would snap into place on the back of the pistol, and turn a handgun into a carbine.
You can, but it's illegal. It's not. Let me rephrase this. You can actually, my friend from American Specialty Ammo, Chris Reed, he sells the kits. However, you have to register it as a short-barreled rifle with the ATF. Otherwise, it's serious time in federal jail. But yes, that does exist.
Yeah. It would be pretty effective for up to 100 yards, I think, even with a pistol round. That would be pretty dangerous at 100 yards or so.
Yeah, it's basically just a short-barreled carbine.
Yeah. I mean, the pistol round would be shorter than a carbine rifle round, so it would be kind of a weak carbine. But still, it would be pretty deadly at 100 yards.
Well, a lot of people are building 9mm AR-15s right now. I was actually even considering doing it, and they actually perform fairly well. The longer barrel gives it slightly higher velocity, so.
Right, and better accuracy too.
I was actually the first time I fired on MP5. I was absolutely flabbergasted by the accuracy you can get on those things on full auto.
MP5s are excellent. I own its big brother, the H&K G3, but MP5s are amazing.
That's my service weapon was actually an A3 G3. If you fired those.
I haven't got to. I've only seen them.
Yeah.
Hey, that's not the same gun that I used to play the game Call of Duty 4, and there was a rifle in there called I think it was the G3.
Yep, same rifle.
And it was really a very effective gun in that game. When it sights up, it was deadly accurate. I used to use it for short-range sniping in that game.
The most besides the AK, it's one of the most widely used guns. Germany will sell guns to anyone.
It's
but their
a
highest quality is the G3. They sold it to like every African country everywhere, and it's one of the best rifles in the world. It's rolling pin. It's just excellent.
It'll fire
action.
every time, and it's deadly accurate.
There's actually grooves in the chamber that allow it to run pretty much as dirty as you want, and will always extract the case.
Huh. Is it who makes it? HK?
HK Heckler.
Is it what is it? 5.56?
No, it's 308.
Yeah, or
308,
depending on
7.62 by 5.
Oh man, it packs a punch, don't it?
Yeah, it's a beast.
I can go get it if you want.
Wow,
that's
a nice round.
The A3G3, which is the military version, is what it suffers from. It's heavy.
Is that the same round that goes in the AK-47?
No, that's 7.62
no, it's slightly
by
different.
39.
Is that a 5.56? I don't know.
No, 5.56 is 223 and
okay.
No,
Okay.
They're slightly
what
different.
goes in
sounds,
the M4 carbine?
That's 5.56.
Okay, so it's basically a 223.
Yes.
Yeah, it is a 223.
Okay. And you're saying the AK-47 has the same round?
No, the AK-47 has a 7.62 by 39.
Oh, much bigger round.
Yeah.
Okay.
There are AK versions with 5.56 though.
AK-74s, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also 5.45 by 39, which is a similar round.
Yeah.
Well, you know, the philosophy in war has changed because I don't know much squat really about military guns, but I've learned this. Back in the World War II era, the idea was to kill the guy you shoot. You know, so they used big rounds. You know, like the M1 Garand, it was 30-06. You know, it's a round designed to kill somebody first shot. You know, and in the Vietnam era, things changed. The idea was not so much to kill the guy first round, but to wound him. And my dad told me this. He was a Korean War vet, and he fought at Chosin Reservoir. And he told me this. He said what happened was the military got the idea that if you shoot a small round, even if you don't kill the guy first round, you wound him bad, you've taken him out of the combat, and then you need one or two other guys to get him off the battlefield. So you consume at least two guys, maybe three, by wounding one. And so that was their philosophy, was you go a smaller round, not necessarily kill the guy, but even if you wound him, you're putting such a hurt on the enemy because it takes so much. Now you've got all their medics in the field trying to take care of everybody that's wounded. You're trying to get the wounded guys off the field, whatnot. So it was the change in philosophy was to wound instead of kill first round.
It also requires a lot more infrastructure and resources to treat someone for wounds than it takes to, you know, pick up a body and bury it or burn it.
Right. Yeah.
So I mean, if just looking at it financially, right? If you kill someone, and let's say you bury everyone you kill, that's a set amount of money. But if you wound someone, you have to pay staff to treat the person, and you have to pay for buildings erected to have the people in. So
right,
it's a lot more
and
expensive.
you've got guys on the field trying to get the wounded guy off the field so he survives, and then they're under fire too, you know. And
so it's a lot more expensive.
Yeah.
And more manpower needed. So it's more efficient. I mean, it sounds kind of counterintuitive, right? That it's more efficient to let people live, but in the long run, it's more efficient.
Right, it sucks up their resources much more. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think also part of, I mean, it's also, there's been an unnecessary amount of death in the latest wars, so I think it's, I mean, again though, like if it gets down to it, if you're on the battlefield and it's you or the enemy, you always choose you. So, but
right. Yeah, you know, who was that? Was it Winston Churchill who said the idea of war? I'm probably not quoting him exactly right. Is not to die for your country, but to make the other bastard die for his.
That was actually Patton.
Patton said that. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But this is a clip of 223, and this is a 308. So.
Oh wow.
That's comparison.
it's actually, if you've seen, it's actually quite scary. If you look up, part of the things in medic training is learning about what different bullets do to your body when you get shot, or what can happen. One of the things that's really, really scary about a big round is it'll topple.
Yeah, if it hits a
Be
bone,
more
it
easy.
spin off going up through the organs and whatnot.
Yeah, so I've seen examples of people getting hit in the abdomen, which, technically speaking, doesn't necessarily have to be life-threatening, right? But the bullet then travels up through your diaphragm and out the back in between your shoulder blades and like rips both your lungs. It's just the amount of damage a single bullet can do.
I've seen that happen with a groundhog. I've shot a groundhog at 300 yards with a .223. I hit him in the shoulder, and it came out the back of his head.
Yeah. It's and again, like, it's not necessarily the projectile either that does the most damage. It's the shockwave around it.
Oh yeah.
Oh
which
yeah, I
is why
understand
a
that.
high-speed bullet can be just as dangerous as a slow speed with more mass.
Yeah,
It's
I
just,
understand that. Yeah, I bought my brother for Christmas a few years ago. He's really big into hunting. I bought him a 300 Win Mag Browning Medallion Series A-bolt Browning Win Mag, and it's only 30 caliber, but the dang cartridge for the thing is monstrous, man. I mean, the amount of energy behind that little 30 caliber bullet is phenomenal. You know, you can literally blow a elephant's head wide open with that thing, and it's only 30 caliber. You know?
which is what actually that's one of the reasons why people, like when you talk about like the HK7 or MP7, whatever you want to call it, which is a 4.7 millimeter bullet, it's a tiny projectile, but it is so fast that it'll just fly through pretty much anything.
Well, a lot of people don't understand inertia. Two different rounds, like 7.62 by 39 and 5.56, they get their inertia from two different things. The 5.56 gets inertia from velocity, which is why it tends to overpenetrate, but it shoots extremely flat. 7.62 by 39 gets its inertia from its mass, so it's going very slow, but it hits with pretty much the same muzzle energy as a .223 because it gets its inertia from the mass.
Yeah, the bullet is much heavier.
But in terms of big rounds, that's a 308 compared to my 375 Holland and Holland. This generates 6,000 joules of energy when it hits.
Have you ever fired a Lapua?
Lapua? 338 Lapua?
Yeah.
I have fired a Lapua. It's an extremely good round, but extremely expensive. I've also fired a 460 Weatherby Magnum, which is an elephant rifle. That thing is scary.
That's the one where it's basically a barrel with a stock on it, right?
Yeah, close.
Yeah.
I've fired a lot of very scary things.
There's some really interesting rounds. I believe, what's it called? It's a handgun. It's the something 7. I think it's a Sig Sauer.
Sig 226. That's 9mm.
No, it's the one that shoots the 5.7 millimeter military round.
Oh, yeah. I can't think of it right now, but I know what you're talking about.
I think, isn't that one illegal to have or own?
No. No. I think what you're thinking of is the 5.45 by 39. It's illegal to import right now because it was put into you can't have an armor-piercing round in a pistol, according to whatever effed up ATF law they've thought up. So people were making AK-74s in 5.45 by 39, and they were turning them into AK pistols. So basically, you had an armor-piercing round in a pistol, and the ATF said, "No more of that. You're not allowed to import this anymore."
Yeah. Because I mean, as far as handguns goes, it's the I don't remember the name of it, but the one that fires the 5.7 millimeter, because that's also basically purposely designed to penetrate armor.
Yeah.
I guess they penetrate a cop car real easy. That's part of the reason, probably.
Well,
Well,
most bullets will
yeah,
go through
Well,
a
I
car.
would think
I
so.
call
Even
bullshit.
a 9mm go through a car door easily, probably.
I call bullshit on those laws because armor-piercing rounds could be anything. You could put a tungsten core in a 9mm. In fact, they're Hydra Shocks rounds have that, and they can penetrate a vest. And even if you're wearing a vest and you get hit by something like a 500 Beowulf, if you get hit by that, even if you're wearing an armored vest, you're going to be laying on the ground coughing up blood. But
Yeah,
just
say
from
bye-bye to your
blunt
ribs.
force trauma.
Would a 30-06 penetrate one of those vests at 100 yards?
Oh yeah. Well, depends on if it's a ceramic plate, then maybe not. But
Depends on the level of the plate, though.
Yeah,
Just a solid lead bullet? Would it pass through an armored
No.
vest?
No, a solid lead would be
It'll
stopped
stop
by
30-06? Man,
30
those vests are bad, man.
Well, because those the plates are either usually ceramic, which are very bulletproof, or they're made of AR-500 steel, which is armor plating, and an AR-500 steel could probably stop a 338 Lapua.
Yeah, but you'd still like the
You would want to die, but
Oh yeah, I'm sure it would be very injurious. It would be you'd be in agony. I'm quite sure. Yeah.
It depends on the padding you have as well, because I mean you still have Newton's laws, so the shooter takes the same amount of energy as you do, but it depends on the level of padding behind the plating, which is why a lot of the one of the reasons why the military gear, the body armor is so you basically become twice the size in some of them. It's just because in addition to having the plating itself, you have to have the padding to make sure that the soldier doesn't take damage from just the sheer impact force.
you also have to with AR-500 and some other steels, there has to be padding behind it because you have what's that called, spackling, or is something like that.
Yeah,
anyways,
they actually
the metal it pushes metal off the back side of the plating into you.
Yeah, and same with ceramic plates. They have the front side coated so that when the bullet hits, because both the ceramic and the bullet will disintegrate on impact to absorb the energy, they need to have a material to absorb the shrapnel. Because if you get hit in the chest and there's nothing to stop the shrapnel, you'll get shrapnel in your neck, and that alone could kill you.
You know what would be a really effective home defense weapon, but I'm sure it would be illegal. A fully automatic 22 caliber long rifle.
Oh yeah, that'd be illegal. You would have them.
That would just waste the crap out of somebody so fast, man. Just blitzkrieg them with 22 rounds.
Yeah, you'd go to prison definitely though, but
yeah.
So you shot the perpetrator 27 times. Yep.
I'll tell you something else that's horribly effective at close range. A 410 gauge shotgun with squirrel shot in it. At 10 or 15 paces, it'll just turn him into jelly, man.
What a lot of people don't understand, that even birdshot, a 1 ounce birdshot, it doesn't matter if you get hit by a lot of little pellets. Because of physics, even you're getting hit by the same amount of energy. So even if you're using birdshot, you get hit by 1 ounce of birdshot, you're still getting hit at the same energy as a 1 ounce slug at short ranges. Yeah. It's only when the birdshot spreads out that it's less dangerous.
Yeah, but birdshot from a full choke 410 or even an improved cylinder 410 at 15 or 20 feet would throw a pattern no bigger than a cereal bowl, probably.
Yeah.
And that would be horribly damaging, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. It would basically any organ behind the impact site would just be gone.
Actually, if you use one really nasty round that was used mostly during the Depression, it's called a cut slug technique. It's where you take birdshot and you cut around the shell. So that the entire shell flies off with the birdshot contained, and when it hits something, it's like a glazer round. All of that energy hits with basically a slug, and then once it's in somebody, all of the birdshot busts
then
out.
The birdshot goes in every direction once it goes inside, huh?
Yeah, it's called a cut shell technique.
Oh, that's illegal too, I guess. Isn't
it? You'd probably get in trouble if you did that.
Yeah.
That's like a bouncing Betty in a shotgun format.
Yeah, it's not good, but some people like to play around with them. but they used it for hunting a lot.
I'll stay legal if you ask me. I really don't feel like eating bologna sandwiches for the next 5 years.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of. I mean, actually, what I was doing before you came in was I was preparing for a video I'm going to make tomorrow about knife laws in Ohio and self-defense with knives. Basically, it's illegal, but it gets very complicated when you start getting into case law and laws concerning self-defense with guns or knives.
It's too many laws, man. The government's
Well,
there are too many dang regulations on people that own firearms. I agree. There needs to be certain laws. I mean, people jimmying around with guns and ammunition so that they make something that's, I mean, the idea of some guy, modifying a weapon so he can go blast the crap out of innocent people at a McDonald's. I get that. I get it. But it's just too much. I think they want you got to sign papers and stamp them and get them just about to own a gun nowadays. It's it's ridiculous what you have to go through. I think the government is trying to slowly piecemeal take away the right for people to have a gun. They're making it more and more difficult for you to get one. Their idea is just to disarm the population of the United States. I'll never change my opinion. I believe that.
Well, in Ohio, we actually have a slightly different problem. We don't really have laws concerning, well, in guns we do somewhat, but with knives and somewhat guns, our laws are so poorly defined that basically everything is illegal. With knives, we don't have a law concerning knives. It's just illegal to carry a deadly weapon. And a deadly weapon is basically up to whether the cop and the prosecutor decides whether it's a deadly weapon. And then since we have no laws, we just have case law. And case laws have determined that pretty much any knife you carry is a deadly weapon.
Oh, yeah. And I live in Mississippi, and the law is 3 inches. If it's 3 inches or more, it's a weapon. If you got a little shorty pocket knife that's 2.5 inches, it's not illegal.
Here in Ohio, a screwdriver could be a deadly weapon.
Those kind of laws are so obscure to me, because I mean, just one example I had with bullshit regulations was at an airport here. It was I was flying north to an airport or an Air Force base, and in my bag I had a bottle opener, and that was considered a weapon. So I had to open my bag and turn that over.
That's preposterous.
Now, on my person, because I was wearing the medic uniform, so on my person I always carried different pens and some utensils I would use every day. And my pen, right? I mean, we're talking that long, a metal pen. That's okay, but basically having this was illegal.
What is that? I can't see.
It's just
I got to click on my name so you'll come up.
Yeah, it's just a bottle opener, like the kind of things.
Yeah, here in Ohio, it's perfectly legal for me to carry my Jericho 941, which is a 16 round 9mm. I can carry that basically anywhere, but I can't carry a knife. I mean, basically, it's illegal to carry a knife.
We have open carry in Mississippi. You can carry a gun in a holster if it's visible, whatever, and we have a castle law here, too. You catch a guy breaking into your car, you can kill him dead.
Here in Ohio, we don't. If you shoot somebody, you better drag him into your house because we don't actually have a castle.
That was the law in Mississippi until about 3 years ago. They passed a castle law. If he's breaking into your car, you kill him, just call the police. Yeah, well, what'd you kill him? Well, he was breaking into my automobile, and that's part of my castle. So
those kind of laws are scary to me. I'm actually, we're not allowed to carry basically any kind of weapon on our person in public, be it concealed or not. So
I don't like laws where you're allowed to protect your property with deadly force, but here in Ohio you can protect yourself or anyone else who's in danger of being killed.
You don't like laws like that?
I don't think I'm not sure you should be allowed to protect property, but in terms of your own safety or the safety of your family or friends or whatever, I definitely agree.
What about this? And what about this argument? Yeah, I haven't really thought about this stuff a lot, but what about this argument? What if you got a guy and he's got one automobile? That's the only car he's got. He's got a low-paying job. He can't afford to buy another car. You take his car away from him. You steal his car. You put the guy out of his house. He's on the streets. He can't get to work.
Is living on the street.
It can be super duper important for a guy to keep his car. So stealing a guy's car can really wreak super havoc on somebody's life.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're going to argue that direction, you would also have to say that capital punishment is okay for theft.
I don't really believe in capital punishment.
I mean, it's basically the same thing, right? Like if you're allowed to shoot a guy because he's trying to steal your car, or hell, just trying to steal some pocket change that's visible inside your car, then I mean, you should technically say that then theft would also be a capital punishment.
Well, I see your point, but then again, it gets a little murky because you're talking about going through a court process as opposed to being caught in the act.
Yeah, I do believe 100% that you have the right to defend yourself and your life. I'm just saying I draw the line at property.
Yeah, I mean, it's if someone is trying to end your life and you value your life, you should be able to defend it. And if possible, I mean, it's easy to sit and talk about scenarios, right? But if possible, you should stop as soon as the assailant has been incapacitated. If you manage to do that, right? So
if I'm defending my life, I'm shooting.
Well, I mean,
I
I agree with that logic, but on the other hand, you know, you can't tell often. You know, if somebody breaking into your house and all the lights are out and you can only see a shadow and you know it's a human being.
Well, if it's in your house, then that's
different. You don't know how or when he's fully incapacitated. You know, the best thing, if you ask me, is to get rid of the guy. You know, put him down.
If you're in my house, I automatically assume that you're there to do me bodily harm. So you're getting 2 to the chest and 1 to the head.
Yeah, I would agree with that. That's the way I would treat it. I wouldn't hesitate to just empty half a magazine into a guy.
Which is why I said, like, it's easy to talk about it. It's a completely different thing being there. So I would probably end up, okay, let's assume I got the upper hand. I would probably end up either severely damaging the person or killing the person, right? Just because that's the nature of the thing. It's fight or flight. It's natural responses. You don't sit there and like, if I do this, that happens. If I do this, that happens. It's more like, nope.
And consider too, if somebody breaks into your house, and if they have reason to believe that you're probably home, and they think that maybe if they're quiet enough they can get away with it, you know that most of the guys that do that, they come fully prepared with the idea in their mind. If it comes down to me and against this guy, I'm going to pull this this huge flathead screwdriver out of my back pocket and I'm going to joust the guy because I'm not going to jail. So I'm breaking into his house fully understanding that if the guy comes at me, I'm going to kill him. So he's already got in his mind this idea that it could turn deadly and he's prepared to kill you. Well, so you find him in your house, he's already got the intent to do you bodily harm, if you ask me. He came prepared with the idea of the confrontation when he came in.
In Cleveland, just a couple weeks ago, they found an elderly couple. They broke in, killed the elderly couple, and stole all their stuff. It happens quite often. If they're going to break in and they catch you and they can get away with it, they'll kill you because if you're dead, you can't be a witness.
I read something on a website about, it was a website and it had a whole long list of people who had successfully defended themselves against intruders with firearms. It was, I believe it was an NRA page. And I was reading through that and I was thinking to myself, good for you, good for you, good for you, for all these people. One of them was a 80-something-year-old lady who a man kicked in her door, slapped her around and stuff. and thought, well, she's a harmless little lady, or I could beat her up with ease, and didn't think anything about fearing her. Slapped her around a little bit, proceeded to rob her. She went and got her hands on a 9mm and wasted.
In those cases, I would say good on them for being able to defend themselves. But I mean, it's different from case to case. One of the things, actually, I've talked about this extensively with a few Americans on here, because if it's not obvious, I'm not American. I'm Norwegian, so we have a completely different set of rules. And we I've tried to explain the way we think of it here. Like the likelihood of someone being armed on the street here is incredibly low, like ridiculously low, which is why I have absolutely no need to arm myself to defend myself. If someone wants to rob me, all they need to do is give me your money, and I mean, fuck, you want some change I have in my wallet? Whatever, take it. I mean, it's not worth risking harm for.
Oh no! If a guy comes at me with a weapon and I'm unarmed, I'll give him whatever I got and call the police immediately.
Yeah, no, I mean, even unarmed, if someone threatens me with violence, I'll just give them. It's not worth my time to end up in a confrontation if I don't have to. But and the same thing with like defending your home. There's no firearms here. There are some blades of various sizes and shapes. But there's no firearms. And the one thing, as I talked to one guy on here, was he intended to keep firearms to defend his home, which, I mean, it's all fine and dandy. I just said, if that's your intention, you should drill it. Because, I mean, it's like military training, right? Have someone set an alarm for you at random. So let's say 2:37 a.m. the alarm goes off. You then have like 15 seconds to get out of bed, get to your weapon, and be conscious and aware enough to actually make decisions where you point the damn thing. Like it's not like you have 10 minutes to wake up and assess the situation and do those kind of things.
You got to defend yourself on the fly.
Quite a lot of us do. I mean, basically every place around here, every range for self-defense or CQB training, close quarters combat, and then you have people like me who have to qualify 3 times a year.
Yeah.
But you do have a lot of training.
Yeah,
Brett, we've been having a firearms discussion. I asked the guy about the guns on his wall, and it just went from there.
Yeah.
Well, I personally, Nephilim, I like to be up close and personal in combat. I like to use chainsaws.
Do you have a firearm, Brett? Are you a gun owner?
Actually, no. Me and Sharp, we discussed this quite a bit, and I usually joke about a baseball bat or chainsaw, but no, I don't do firearms.
Okay.
Now, to me, firearms are fun, as in it's a skill. That's the way I see firearms. I'm really fond of handguns just because it's a different skill set, because it's just you and the weapon. There's no aim compensation. It's all about you. Your breathing, your finger, your hand. It's a personal skill.
Other than my job and my CW guns, most of mine are sporting rifles, long-range shooting, different competitions. Like the bottom one here is my black powder muzzleloader. I own a lot of muzzleloaders, which are completely useless, basically, for self-defense or anything like that. But I do a lot of sports shooting with old, black powder guns from before the Civil War.
I keep a weapon right there at my door. So if anybody knocks on my door, if they knock on my door after a certain hour of the evening, I don't even bother answering, and I won't even look out the hole. But if it's earlier than that, I go to the door. I have a wooden chair leg that's about 18 inches long, with the bottom whittled down for a little thinner and with a nub at the end where it's hard to pry out of your hand. And I've got it wrapped with electrical tape leaning up against the wall. So if anybody does manage to kick my door in, they're going to end up in the hospital or dead because I'm going to break something.
That's actually another thing here. Even if I were to own a firearm personally, if I were to store it legally in my home, I would actually need 3 different safes. Because by law here, you need the firing pin, the rest of the weapon, and the ammunition locked up in 3 different locations with 3 different axes or methods of access.
You would have one hell of a time getting in my safe, so I'm not really concerned.
Yeah, no, I'm just
I don't
talking
think
about.
anybody would want to, if they heard you talking in the Hangout, I don't think anybody wants to try to break into your house, friend.
You have to deal with my dogs.
No.
This guy's got, you could start a militia with what's in his house. Arm the whole neighborhood. Oh, it's all gone to hell? Okay, guys, come on over to my place. Get a gun. You know.
I've joked about that because I worked in the firearms industry, and if hell broke loose or like there was a, let's say, really way out there, there was like a World War Z kind of thing, that shit would be mopped up in like 3 hours with me. We've got, I know guys who work with full auto guns, basically have everything on the planet. Actually, my friend Chris has not 1 MP5, but 3.
Nice.
Oh, man. So what's on your mind tonight, Brett? What are you on about? You got something to chew? You got some crawl going on?
Nah, me and the wife and the kids are just watching.
What's the name of that corn cob you chewing on and gritting your teeth about?
What kind of corn do we eat? Yeah. Yep. My microphone working?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, we eat some corn from time to time near enough. We just got done watching the Rise of the Planet of Apes or Dawn of the Apes and new Turtles movie. Yep, they got 2 evolution movies out: Turtles Evolving and Apes. So
I heard the Turtles movie was pretty.
Well, they're mutants, man. Well, come on, they're mutants. We all know those mutations are good stuff, man.
Was that new?
How was the Turtles movie?
Yeah.
I haven't seen it yet. I've seen the Planet of the Apes one.
Did you know that? I'm sure you do. If you think about it, though, it's interesting that in they knew about the DNA molecule was discovered by accident by a German researcher in 1867, and but in 1952, Crick and Watson discovered the 3-dimensional structure of the DNA molecule. From the late 1940s, when they started heavily right after the war, the money that was around, it was no longer going into the military. A lot of it went into scientific research, and they started tinkering around with DNA a lot more and studying it. And it was right after World War II that all of a sudden, here comes all these mutant movies, the giant ants, the mutant from outer space, all these mutant movies that were coming out. Hollywood was making a C-rate sci-fi every week, it seems. And it was all mutant monsters, one kind or another. All mutants, the creature from the Black Lagoon, remember that from the 1950s? And it's all about mutants. So Hollywood really latched onto this idea that the evolutionists have, that mutations can, change the anatomy of creatures and morph them and make all kinds of new, interesting, cool features in creatures and make them into all kinds of wild, new kind of life, right? Hollywood grabbed onto that idea and started pumping movies out based on the idea of mutants, just like crazy. I bet they made from 1947 or 8 to about 1965, there had to have been 2,000 movies, most of them C-rate or D-rate, about mutant monsters from space or from under the ground or something.
Well, they did the same thing during the space race. Anything that's interesting going on, you'll see, thousands of horrible B-rate space movies from, when we were doing during the Cold War.
Yeah.
That's rough.
I think those movies really helped to cause a lot of people, the general population, to believe that genetic mutations actually can do those kinds of things. Make marvelous new designs, organic designs, and people swallow it. but they don't have any scientific knowledge about anything. Most of them, and they oh, that's what the scientists say, so I guess it's true, and they swallow it, and you got a whole generation of people coming up from the 1950s, kids, Andy Griffith show style Opie kids, that are today in their 60s and 50s that actually believe that, and Hollywood's partly to blame for it.
Mostly what mutations do is cause horrifying cancers, but sometimes they result in differing things in species, but mostly mutations are bad.
The only thing you could say a mutation is good for is destroying information, really. I mean, the thing about certain mutations are capable of, say, for example, producing an immunity in a bacteria. But that doesn't promote the idea of evolution, because it doesn't change the structural design of the organism in the slightest way. But the thing about that is, what a lot of people don't realize is there's really two kinds of mutation. There's programmed mutation, and there's random mutation. And the mutations that create immunities in organisms are not random. That's programmed mutation. In other words, the system is designed to modify its own information to produce something to protect it from the environment. And that's actually coded information in the genome that says we have an infiltrator, let's modify some enzymes and put something out there and attack the thing.
Well, you can have
most people don't know that.
Like with viruses, we've stripped the outer protective coating off of viruses and let them mutate in a hostile environment. And they will actually redevelop that coating or a similar coating with different, using different genetic information, because the ones that survive are the ones that have either mutations or something similar that develop that coating. So we'll have viruses that will develop that coating just because the only ones that survive are the ones that will develop that mutation.
Yeah, I understand that, but again, such a mutation as that doesn't support evolution. All it does is change the biochemistry of the organism.
Evolution on a smaller scale.
Well, you can call it mutation. I disagree with the use of the term evolution in anything biological. I don't think it's actually true that it's evolution, because the very term evolution implies that something is becoming something else. That's what we say evolve. When we say evolve, that's what we mean by evolving. It means becoming something else. When we think of music evolving, we think of entire new genres of music arising, because music evolves.
Well,
and if you apply that same idea to organisms, the idea is that new kinds of life arise.
Evolution is just small changes within a species, and eventually you will get something that looks completely different, such as, you can go through the horse evolution, where it started by something that looks like a rodent and get all the way up to a horse. We have pretty much that entire evolutionary line, except for its extremely small changes. As it was happening, you would never really notice it was happening because it happened so slowly. But with a virus, you can see it happening extremely fast, because you're having millions of mutations over a very short period of time.
Yeah, but the thing is, the mutations, they don't have the power to change the anatomy. As for the horse thing, consider this. This is a statement by Niles Eldredge, co-discoverer of the three-dimensional structure of the double helix molecule DNA. He was curator of the American National Museum of Natural History. And he said this: I admit that an awful lot has been gotten into the textbooks as though it were true. For instance, the most famous example still on display downstairs, and he means in the American Museum, is is the exhibit on horse evolution, prepared perhaps 50 years ago. That has been presented as literal truth in the textbooks after textbook. Now, I think that is lamentable, particularly because the people who propose these kinds of stories themselves may be aware of the speculative nature of some of the stuff. But by the time it filters down to the textbooks, we've got science as truth, and we've got a problem.
Well, he
In
wasn't
other
a
words, he's
paleontologist.
acknowledging that the horse evolution transition series that was once in that museum was was uh, is bogus. It's not scientifically supportable, and a number of scientists have acknowledged that. The two horse to toe to three horse toe thing, and one of the reasons that it was deemed fallacious by many scientists is because it's been discovered in the fossil record that the two-toed variety and the three-toed variety coexisted. They lived at the same time, and
Uh,
that really shouldn't be if one evolved from the other. One should
well,
have.
you can have that's very easy to happen. You actually had Neanderthals and Paleo humans living at the same time. It's just two different branches living at the same time.
But Neanderthal doesn't show any kind of evolution to man. Here's something I'd like you to consider. You mentioned mutation, and you said mutation eventually will cause this and that. Here's what I would challenge you to do. I would challenge you to study what the abstracts in scientific papers that are in research programs where they study the effects of mutation in living things, any kind of thing, and see what the actual observed effect was from the mutation. And I guarantee you that if you look at it, if you studied 15 or 1,500 of those abstracts, you won't find any support for evolution theory in genetic mutation. And here's what you'll find. Excuse me. The organism became deformed, it became dead, or it became weak. That's what they'd observe every time. Now,
No, I've actually read quite a few papers where that's not the case.
with the example of deformity, an evolutionist might say, "Well, look, it's changing in its anatomy," but that's not so. That's a deformation of an existing feature, and why we know it's not a benefit to the organism is because it's either it makes the organism unfit, or uh, the DNA repair mechanisms within the organism fixes that mutation to get rid of that deformity, indicating that it was not good for the anatomy and it's not beneficial. So, for example, if you mutate flies in the laboratory and you get a flies with curled wings because of a mutation, now they're unfit to survive. But if you breed the offspring of them, and you make several generations, you breed the offspring, then you breed those offspring, then you breed those, what you'll find is this change, this curled wing, will disappear because the organism reverts to its original phenotype. That's called DNA repair. It's an ingenious mechanism put into the organism to fix mutations. Now, it's imperfect. It doesn't fix them all. But I believe in the beginning, when God created the life forms, it was perfect. But I think the DNA mechanism has become, the repair mechanism itself has become imperfect because of mutation, the very thing that it's designed to fix.
Well, it has to be a mutation that fits its environment. If it allows the if the mutation allows it to survive and procreate better, then it will survive. If not, it will fade away. Which is why you have whales that lost their legs and still have vestigial legs. You have evolution. You have mutations involving. They no longer need their legs, and maybe that's not good for their environment to have legs. Or in the case of lizards living in caves, they've lost their eyes, almost completely lost their eyes. Because
Well, let me address those two examples you gave. Let me address those. I bet there might be some arguments against those that you haven't heard. I'd like you to hear those.
Now, I've pretty much read them all. I've heard them all.
Well, let me tell you about the whale thing. Those bones that exist in some whales, they're not part of the locomotion system of the organism at all. They're part of the reproductive system. They're called ischium, and they're anchors.
They evolved to use in a different.
They're anchors for the Cavanova corporis. They're anchors for the penis, because whales are huge animals with very large penises, and reproduction can be kind of violent, if you know what I mean. They need cartilage and bone to anchor that thing, else they could cause internal injury when they're reproducing. So now, if you wanted a transitional form between land-dwelling creatures and whales, here's what what the evolutionist believes had to have happened. They believed that the organism had pelvises, that it had femurs, tibia, wrist bones, and digits. It had all those creatures in the beginning, and it lost them just to leave these two bones, right? Well, if that were true,
A transitional form then would not just be the ischium, which we know are part of the reproductive system. It would be something more. For example, had that ever taken place, we should see creatures in the fossil record which have lost their digits, then they've lost their wrist bones, then they've lost their femurs and their tibia and left with a pelvis, and then the pelvis is gone. That would
We
be a
do have
series of
that in the fossil
transitions.
record.
But
We
we don't
actually
have
have
anything like that. In the
Oh, yes,
fossil
we do.
record, no, we don't. All we have is this. We have whales that have two ischium that are anchors for the penis, and we have creatures in the fossil record that have all of the bones because they have rear legs. But there is nothing in between. There is no transitional form. You just have the whales with the anchor bones for the penis, and you have the land-dwelling creatures with all the bones. If you're going to claim transition happened, you need to show something that's got remnant of the actual legs, but doesn't have full legs yet. You see what I mean? That could be considered a transitional form, but nothing like that exists in the fossil record. There isn't one. Here's another
I'm actually looking at a early whale, Basiloceus.
Basilosaurus.
Yeah, it actually does have what you're talking about. It has a femur and leg bones.
But it had fins. It had fully formed fins. It's not missing.
And
it
that
had
transitioned into baleen whales. Early baleen whales had even less. They still had toe bones, basically, but they were completely vestigial.
Well, since when are they vestigial? I mean, you're talking about a creature that has cartilage and tendon supporting an entire set of bones going all the way outside the anatomy that are flippers. That's all the bones. A transitional form would be a creature that has only some of that.
Well, that's what they have. They only have some.
No, that's not what they have. They have fully functional fins.
Well, no,
with
but
digits.
they are losing the ability to move them. They've some of the bones have actually fused. You also have this.
How can you tell that they're losing anything? They have fully formed fins.
Because
they've got all the bones of fins. What makes you think the bones are fused? Because they have fewer bones in their fins than some other creatures have in their fins?
Well, they don't actually have fewer bones. They have fused bones that were before that 2 bones, and they've become 1.
So a scientist looks at a bone that's bigger than what it is in another creature and believes that they fused.
No, you can
because
actually
they believe
tell
in
that they're
evolution.
2 different fused bones. You also see this
Really?
in snakes.
Yeah, I wouldn't agree with that. But even so, it can't be considered transitional because again, you've got all the bones for a complete fin. You don't have some of the bones. You've got them all. They have fins with all the bones.
You also see in snakes with vestigial legs are actually internal because they have no use anymore, but they'll still have the pelvic bones and some of the other bones that'll just be internal.
Those do have function. The snakes use them during reproduction to latch onto their mate, hold them still.
No, I mean they're completely internal. There's no function whatsoever.
Okay, so a snake that has these has been its genome has been genetically damaged, and now it doesn't fully produce the feature that it once had.
Yeah.
How is that evidence that it's becoming something else when the entire rest of its anatomy is purely snake?
Well, it's because it was something else a very long time ago, and through genetic mutation and adapting to its environment, it no longer needed those legs, and it became a hindrance to have them, so that the ones that had less and less would survive better and procreate and transfer on those genes.
Okay, so it may be that these snakes had those hooks like other species of snakes do, and for some reason they stopped producing them. But you can't get evolution by losing features. Evolution claims you have to get new ones.
No, you can actually.
See, for example, in the whale.
Actually, evolution is not. It
the
doesn't
whale,
say that it has to have
evolution
more.
just says change.
Yes,
it
it
doesn't
does.
specify more or less.
No,
it
does, and the whale is a perfect example because the whale has features, anatomical features, the a land-dwelling creature would not. It has a blowhole for one thing, and that's
Blowholes
a
are just
huge.
nostrils.
Blowhole is just a nostril.
Right, but let me give you something to think about. You probably never even considered. That's a huge problem for this idea of whale evolution. What the evolutionist scientists believe is that the 2 nostrils at the end of creatures like Basilosaurus fused and migrated to the top of the head to become a blowhole. Right now, there's only 2 ways that could happen. One, if they merged and they migrated up the head, they would either the air passage would have to pass straight through the brain to get to the top of the head. Now that's not going to happen. Natural selection wouldn't let that happen.
Well, it
Secondly,
didn't happen immediately. Actually,
secondly,
you see with amphibious mammals where their nostrils go further up because it's easier to swim if you have nostrils that are further up in the head, and it's slowly migrated up.
So how do nostrils migrate up the top of the head to become a
Slow
blowhole?
mutation. Basically, if you have one animal
Do you
that
have
has it
any
slightly
transition?
higher, it'll better survive and better procreate. So you have that slowly over time.
Mm-hmm. So why would natural selection select for something that is no longer useful as nostrils, which are extremely useful, obviously, because alligators and crocodiles use them beautifully, to something that's that is less than functional because it's moving up through the head?
No, a nostril on a gator is just a differently placed blowhole.
And where would this blowhole go? Right? Would the or air passage pass through the brain of the organism to get to the top of the skull?
Evolution does not always produce the best way to do things. A giraffe's
So the brain split in two for a time.
Yeah. Oh well, no, it didn't split in two for a time. It just
how did the blowhole get to the top of the head?
Well, because it slowly migrated up. You see that with
how to do that with the brain's in the way?
Well, it doesn't actually pass through the brain.
Well, how did it get around the brain?
It would have been to the side or.
Yeah. Have you got any fossils that support that idea, or is that just an assumption?
Actually, we have living whales that have not just one hole; they have two vents.
Mm-hmm. Any of them near the brain? Any of them passing around the brain?
Not necessarily any closer than what ours is to our brain. Remember, their skull is different than ours.
So we have whales with a blowhole at the top, and we have creatures that have nostrils in the front. Now, do you have any fossils that show this migration, or is it just something you assume took place?
We do have fossil records where they're blowhole. Well, you can't actually tell very well. You have to actually follow the holes in the skull because you can't actually tell.
I want to see the whale with two blowholes, and the butthole doesn't count. What
you don't have is any fossil that shows the migrating blowhole going through the head. You assume that took place with no physical evidence for it whatsoever. And as for the fish that loses its eyes in a cave, excuse me, losing the eyes doesn't move it towards becoming something other than a fish. And secondly, it puts it at a disadvantage because if the environment changes, this is actually an example of intelligent design. The organism has stopped producing eyes to make itself more efficient. If it wasn't able to use its eyes, the eyes would be detrimental to its anatomy. Secondly, if the environment changes and now it has sunlight in its environment again, and it doesn't have eyes, it's at a disadvantage because the predators can see it now, and it can't see them coming.
Oh, and Brett, blue whales have two blowholes. You can look up pictures of that.
You got a link for me?
Oh, yeah, I'll just link you to a picture.
But what you need, though, to claim this transition took place is the physical evidence. Otherwise, you're just relying on what you believe took place. That's faith. That's not science.
No, I can follow the fossil record and see what happened and what most likely happened.
Well, then show us the transitional forms that show the blowhole migrate through the skull.
1 second.
Sharpie, can I ask you a question real quick?
There
Why do you think there's so many whale graveyards in the desert over by the pyramids? What's up with that?
Oh, well, it used to be an ocean. They actually find in the marble quarries over there, they'll actually find full skeletons of, not just full skeletons, fully fossilized whales. They were actually cutting up marble blocks over there not too long ago, and they discovered that they'd sectioned a whale into 1-inch, basically, photographs. It basically took an MRI of the whale because they cut up the marble into 1-inch strips, and they had an entire whale chopped up.
Sharpie, I noticed that you're not wearing your glasses. I hope you realize you were supposed to show me a whale. You gave me a dolphin.
Well, same porpoise, but no, it's a blue whale.
Okay, let me take a look here.
Okay, see, the thing is, you don't have any transitional forms. You just have this imaginative scenario. You believe that the blowholes migrated, but you don't have any physical evidence that it did. So you're just relying on an assumption. And assumptions, if you go around assuming everything in science, then you're not really doing science. Because you're not looking at anything that's observable. You're just you're looking at something that is and saying, I imagine it got this way because X. But what good is that to science? That's not science.
Sharpie, do you I'm just asking, but do you think that at one point in time whales turned into like a dog-like character and came up on land, or alligator dog? There's so many different.
Well, it wouldn't have been an alligator. Actually, they would have been mammals on land and then progressed into the ocean.
Let me ask you this: if
the
genetic
transition.
mutation can do all this marvelous stuff, why isn't there any papers in the journals that demonstrate that genetic mutation is capable of building new structural designs, new anatomical features, even incrementally, in any organism? And why is it that if evolution does this constantly and has throughout the past, why don't we find any organism on this planet with a partially developed anatomical feature?
You do. You actually see eyes. We actually have fish that have two different forms of eyes. One is partially developed, where they just have a lens, and the other one is actually a fully developed eye.
Okay, are you talking about a deformed fish? One
No,
that has a
that's
mutation?
actually it's basically light sensors on the head, so it can tell if predators.
Okay, that's not eyes. That's a light sensor on the top of the head.
Well, it's a light sensor with a lens.
So you assume that it had something to do with eyes?
No, it's actually a directional. They actually can direct it. It's
Right. So it's a light sensor, right?
That's what an eye is. Cones and
No. You're taking something, an anatomical feature that has a specific function, and applying a different function to it by claiming it was part of it. It was a completely different anatomical feature at some point in the past.
No, that's
or it's
literally
becoming
what an
one.
eye is.
Take a look at this.
No, an eye is not. An eye is just a light sensor. I'm sorry. No, an eye is an optical device that's outrageously complex.
Well,
it's not just a light sensor.
We actually have every evolutionary step where an eye goes from just a light sensor to forming a lens to forming everything else.
Who
Cones
told
and
you
rods
that?
are basically just light sensors. That's
Who
all
told
they
you
are.
that crap? Because there's no such thing in the fossil record, and we don't have any
We
organisms
also have
like
living
that.
examples.
Oh, really? Show me
Wow.
one, please.
Check this out. It looks
I'd
like
love to see that.
Check this out. This link, albino whale. That's pretty cool.
Every imaginable step, you say, in the evolution of eyes. Well, I'd love to see that because, I don't think any scientist on the planet's ever prevented such a thing.
Actually, Richard Dawkins covered pretty much that entire thing in an article.
No, he discussed his imaginative scenario about how an eye might have evolved. He did not show any example whereby we have a series of organisms that show the development of the eye by mutation. There is no such thing. What you said is false.
Pretty cool albino creature. Looks like a big old pearl in the water.
Whales are cool creatures.
Excuse me.
Yeah, dude, did Google for sure.
Google's nice. It'll take me quite a while to find all the examples, but basically...
Yeah, well, there is none. That's why you'll never find them.
No, there are quite a few.
You're going to show a light sensor and assume that it was once an eye or it's becoming an eye. That's not every series.
First you have a light sensor, and then you have a cavity. Cavity allows you to have... basically, you can see where things are at. Then you have a lens, which gives you a slightly better picture, and then you have the ability to move that lens, which can give you depth perception and other things.
Mm-hmm. So you have a light sensor that can move, and you assume this is evidence of eyes. But you said something very outrageous. No, it's not an eye. Let me explain what an eye is. An eye is an optical device that allows someone to see the world. A light sensor is not equal to an eye.
I'm gonna go
Actually,
get
in principle, it is.
Back.
No, it's not. I'm a professional photographer. I know what I'm talking about. An eyeball is not a lens system designed to see the world. It is
technically
a light
speaking,
sensor.
a lens is just an optical device. A lens doesn't do anything in its own right. All it does is focus light. You have to have receptors to actually do anything with the light.
There's no imaging.
Which is where the rods come in.
Actually,
Right,
very early
right. But a
cameras
light
were.
sensor does not
And
equal
the
an
rods
eye.
are derivatives of the early light sensitive
Well,
cell.
you can believe that all you like, but we don't have this series of transitional forms that he said exist for all these transitional steps of the eye. We don't have any of that.
Yes, we do. We have living examples of them.
No, we don't. You haven't provided anything because it doesn't exist. There is no scientist on the planet that shows a series of living creatures that show the development of the eye that can be looked at and said, here it is, more like an eye, 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 more like an eye. There's no series of creatures in this world like that. You stated something scientifically false. With creatures with a light sensor and eyes does not equal a series of creatures that show the evolution of the eye. That's just scientifically false. What they have is imaginative scenario whereby this took place. They don't have any science that it took place. Nothing observable, nothing in the fossil record, nothing living. In fact, the most complex eyes that ever existed on this world are in trilobites, which existed in the Cambrian. So at the very at the earliest stages of living things on this planet, eyeballs had already evolved to a super high order. The eyes of trilobites are so complex, they have 600 different lenses with actual such quality that you would have to contract Carl Zeiss or Nikon or Canon to make a lens that good. That's how good these lenses are in the trilobite eyes.
They evolved very early.
In fact, they by studying the eyes of the trilobite, they've discovered that they had error correction in their lenses. Like a camera lens has a complex lens has multiple elements of glass in it, and they have different shapes. Some will be flat on the back and curved on the concave on the front. Some will be concave on both sides. Some convex on both sides. So one be convex on one side, concave on the other. This is error correction. It can correct barrel distortion or pinwheel distortion. And trust me, I know what I'm talking about. I'm an ex-professional photographer. Trilobites had lenses like that. Well, they had optical error correction in their lenses. That's pretty astonishing technology.
Link I provided is the evolution of an eye, and every one of those evolutions can be found in living animals.
Let me take a look at this because there is no such thing as a transitional form. Okay, the one at the top we have examples of. The first we have light sensors like that. The ones at the bottom is the eyeball. The ones in the middle we don't have.
Oh yes, we do.
No.
You actually have them.
And there is no such thing as a partial eye. This is an imaginative scenario of what took place. It's not an example of things found in living creatures. There may be different kinds of light sensors in organisms. They are not comparable to an eye, and they don't show a transitional series to an eye. The ones where you have it enclosed, for example, the top, go to the second ones in the middle, the second row, the second one on the second row. No such thing as that exists in any living thing. Nor the second to the last one either.
Oh, no, not evolution again. I thought y'all was talking about something else. Y'all on evolution.
Well, we ran into some people who actually believe mud puppies, turned into human beings over time because mutations, deformities occur.
Oh, yeah. Well, I gotta go to bed because it's 1 a.m. right now. I will see you guys later.
Okay, well, take care of yourself.
See you later, Sharpie.
God bless you.
I'm going to be going to bed here in a little bit myself.
How you doing, Brett?
I'm doing pretty good. What's you up to, old man?
No, nothing much.
Yeah, I'm going to be going to bed here in a few minutes.
Thought I'd just pop in for a minute, see what y'all was up to.
It's been a busy day for me today. Can you guys hear me good? I'm kind of sitting up.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Sweet.
I've got tons of stuff to do tomorrow myself.
You guys put up a tree? Did you guys put up a tree?
No, we don't do the Christmas tree thing.
We put ours up right after Thanksgiving.
That's cool. Oh, goodness gracious. Yeah, my boy, he got him a PlayStation 4. He's pretty happy with it. We gave it to him early, though.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what are they up to? PlayStation 37 now?
No, part 4.
Just 4.
Can it talk to you and operate your microwave yet?
They can do a lot, that's for sure.
Yeah, no, your Xbox One can operate your TV, though. By voice command.
Yeah.
If you have the right microwave, it can control it.
I saw a house back in the early O's where somebody had a computer system in it. It was a real expensive system. I think it cost like 10 grand. And basically, the person could come home from work and just say, temperature 72, microwave thaw food, stereo 96.7. And all this happens just by voice. They can do all kinds. Kitchen lights on. It was pretty impressive.
Yeah, it come out with all kinds of neat toys. You should see the sick coffee machine I got. Dang.
Uh-oh, would you buy one of those European dealy bops, man?
No, man, it looks like
crops.
If it had wheels on it, it'd look like the Knight Rider. It's awesome. Oh yeah.
Oh man, does it make cappuccino and frappe and stuff?
Makes it all.
Oh man. Connoisseur of the bean, huh?
There you go.
I do like a good cup of coffee, man.
Mm-hmm. That's tasty. Oh, did you hear about this, guys? I don't know if you heard, but there's a new movie out. It's called Atheism the Movie. Here's the trailer. There you go. I think Reuven seen the trailer today, didn't you?
Please subscribe, comment, and rate. These are the people your parents warned you about.
Black Sabbath in the background.
They love watching others suffer.
I'm gonna hop on over to 13s. You guys have a good night.
Unless they're hurting someone. And a big middle finger says, fuck your...
Well, what do you think of it, Reuven?
Hey, Brett, I got a video for you. Probably you get a laugh out of it.
Alrighty.
Sure.
Please subscribe, comment, and rate.
Post it in there. There you go.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. Yeah, the American Psychiatric Association did a study about 10 years ago and discovered atheists are the least trusted people in the world.
Are they serious? You ask
Yes,
them what the difference between what's heavier, a pound of cotton or a pound. What the hell? They actually got that wrong?
Hey, this is why it's not good to do interviews on the street with just regular, just normal people walking down the street.
Oof.
Oh, it gets worse.
What are you talking about? What are you guys talking about?
Well, there's this. He gave me a link to a video, and this guy is walking around with a microphone, and he asks these people, "What's heavier, a pound of cotton or a pound of stone?"
Oh my!
And they all are just like they're
Incapable of realizing it's a pound, for crying out loud.
Yeah. Oh man.
Genius, man. That's brilliant.
I might have to put this in my watch later. I watched the first 30 seconds of it. I was like, what? I'm going to go ahead and subscribe to that and check that out. Put that over there. Yeah. Oh, goodness.
Oh, I've seen some of those. I think some of the funniest ones are the geography questions. People ask somebody something like, "Can you tell me where Spain is?" And they say, "Isn't Spain in?" and stuff like that. You know, completely clueless. Do you know where Massachusetts is? Isn't Massachusetts on the ocean? Isn't
He actually he asked them like, where was the Boston Tea Party at, and all, what state was the Boston Tea Party at? And they was like, it's in Boston, even though Boston isn't a state.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen some really ridiculous questions like that, answers. You know, questions like, "Can you show me where is Europe on a map? Can you tell me where Europe is?" Yeah, and they're clueless. They don't even know where Europe is, for crying out loud. I mean, these people never got a geography book or something. They didn't finish the 7th grade.
Oh, the math questions are just hilarious.
It's crazy, man. And no wonder the country's going downhill, man.
Oh yeah. No, he just asked them just simple. Well, some of them are riddles, but the other ones are just real simple questions, and they just can't get them.
Be right back.
So did y'all have y'all talk on the topic? You know, Star Wars, guns, etc.
Well, they did talk about some guns earlier. Gun topics aren't really my thing, but I did check out the new trailer, Star Wars. I'm interested in it. I hope it doesn't fail like the last of the latest Star Wars shows that were out there.
Oh yeah, the prequels.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hello. Welcome back, Neff.
Hey.
I tried to, oh.
Hey, Nardia.
still in a
He went to go do
Hi,
something.
Brett. What's that?
I think he went to go do something.
Again? Oh, wow. He disappeared like that the last time.
Yeah.
I just got done talking to Lucifer.
Yeah, I heard there was some kind of interview that was probably about as exciting as watching paint dry. I don't know why people find that particular individual so interesting. He named himself Lucifer, and he's dumber than a box of rocks. Why would anybody care? Just saying. Am I missing something?
Well, you know why.
Why?
Well, in my case.
Why?
Um,
Because he's got a
well,
picture of a model on his avatar. Is that why?
But you know who that model is, right?
I believe it's some model that is part of that LBGT thing that you're into, right?
Well, a bit closer related than that, although, well, we don't have that big of connections to each other. Yeah, trans, like me.
I hear you.
I guess their character or persona or whatever you call it is well, supposed to not really have a gender. They call it agender or neutrois in alternative generated parlance, whatever.
All right. Well, folks, the wife has stepped in. I'm ready for some bed. See you guys later. You have a good one. Talk to y'all tomorrow if you're around.
Have a good night, Brett, and I'll be busy evolving from a fish. Okay. Oh, darn it. Well, so much for that plan.
Yeah, I guess got the tail end of the conversation again. Yeah, that's okay.
I got even less than that. I had it all muted and was chatting it up with Lucifer.
Wow.
Granted, with 9 of the people in the way, but still.
Well, guess I'll get on to bed. I guess I'll talk to y'all later.
Have a good night, Gary.
All right. Take it easy, Nadia.